have passed, but the Northeast is still freezing. The Mets play one game. That's not a series, is it? In Philadelphia before heading for warmer climes. They'll be in Miami tomorrow. At Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, the New York Mets play the Philadelphia Phillies. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citizens Bank Park. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets have just a brief stopover here in Philadelphia before they head down to play the Marlins tomorrow night. The Mets will be in search of some warmer weather. Tom Glavine, though, goes on his regular day. He pitched against the Phillies his last time out, and he faces them again tonight.
Yeah, one of the toughest things, I think, is to face a team back-to-back. That's what Glavine's going to do tonight, pitching in this cold weather. And if you're going to have a veteran pitcher, you want him to pitch in this kind of day. Glavine last start didn't have his great changeup, didn't have his great control, but he handled Ryan Howard, and that was the key to the game, striking him out twice with changeups. And if he's going to be successful tonight, he's got to handle Howard again.
And he's got to, of course, handle Jimmy Rollins, who had 2 home runs against him in that last start. Second time Rollins had done that. But as Glavine has handled the cold weather well in the early season, the Mets have not played a lot of games, only 16 games in the first 18 days of the season. So how did players adapt to that?
Well, you know, it's spring. When you come to Florida, you can't wait to get out of Florida to start the season. Well, I think David Wright had the great quote yesterday was he can't wait to get back to Florida in warm weather. You know, you want to get into a rhythm in the season. You know it's going to be cold in April in the 50s. Not like this. It's been an average of 45 degrees for this ball club. And then the rain delays, you know, it kind of gets in the way of getting your rhythm, particularly if you're off to a slump.
Well, the Mets will be home on Friday, and hopefully the weather will be warmer by then, but they've got one more night of this cold weather to deal with here in Philadelphia. Mets and Phils coming up from Citizens Bank Park. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the New York State Smokers Quit Line. Call 1-866-NY-QUITS for free help and advice. Start your smoke-free life today. By Hummer. Visit Hummer.com to check out the H3 Hummer like nothing else. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? Keith's not the only one with the fur tonight. Nice way to stay warm. Tom Glavine will try and keep his hand warm and keep the Phillies at bay. Well, the Mets got rained out on Sunday at home. That'll be made up in July. They got rained out here last night. That'll get made up in June. And even the Fanatic is cold. It's probably about the same temperature and wind speed as it was last night at this time. The difference is it's not raining. And so everybody's got a little long underwear on and ready for the Mets and the Phillies. Second time this year these teams have gotten together. Mets took 2 out of 3 at Shea. And what do you don't call it a series when it's only one game. What do you call it, a stopover?
You call it a makeup doubleheader down the road. You're very angry about it.
Flyby.
It's a pop-in. It's Freddie Garcia taking the mound against the Mets, and the Geico starting lineup, the usual 8 for the Mets with all the off days. Willie's been playing his starters most of the time, and Jose Reyes has done wonders in this ballpark, which is a great hitter's ballpark normally. It may not play quite the same way tonight with the wind blowing in.
Well, not only is the wind blowing in, but it is cold, and that means the ball won't travel as much. You see, Freddie Garcia won 17 games last year for the Chicago White Sox. That's the 3rd time the Phillies since World War II they traded for a pitcher who has won 17 games or more. Steve Carlton in 1971 with the Cardinals. Jim Cott, 20 for the 1975 Red Sox, and Kevin Millwood, 18 for the 2002 Braves.
Well, that wind is blowing in from left field, which is where a lot of the cheap home runs go here at Citizens Bank Park. And it's been tough for really everybody all around baseball to get any rhythm going. Offense is down by a couple of runs per game over the first 2 weeks plus.
A lot of hits batsmen so far. I mean, Chase Utley has been hit 3 times. He's tied for first in the National League with 4 other batters hit 3 times. My goodness, ouch.
Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire, and Willie Randolph in discussion. Willie clearly is upset about something. I'm not quite sure what.
Oh, well, they're calling someone in from, the other umpire.
The crew chief, Tim Cheetah, coming in from second base. So whatever it is that Willie addressed, Nelson is consulting with his crew chief about it. which gives Freddie Garcia plenty of time to stand around and cool off after throwing in his warm-up pitches. Any thoughts? Any idea?
I don't know.
I haven't a clue.
Usually when a manager comes out, Keith, it's because the pitcher has something illegal on, or a glove, or...
And they're going to Garcia.
And they're going to tell him he has to unload something.
Meanwhile, Nelson is coming over to talk to Charlie Manuel, the Phillies manager, and whatever it is, Garcia is headed back toward the dugout.
Well, it's not the way you want to start if you're Garcia, coming off a injury. That right biceps tendon had a problem with, and now warmed up and it's got to cool down again.
The red glove should not be an issue because they changed the rule this year, and they said you could use any color glove you want, even a multicolor glove, as long as it wasn't white.
Well, he's going back in the clubhouse.
Well, something clearly caught Willie's eye, and whatever it is, the umpires apparently concurred. So Garcia is going to have to fix whatever the problem was. Jeff Nelson right now explaining it to Rich Doobie, the pitching coach for the Phillies. Well, last week we had a game at Shea where the umpires didn't show up. Today, a game delayed before it even starts.
This is a good way to get managers very upset at each other, because that kind of sportsmanship. Rick Peterson on the phone now. Interesting.
Well, he's got to be concerned about Glavine because you've got a delay, and so that affects Glavine in terms of his preparation for the start of the game, right?
It's just, you know, especially Glavine, who has that routine. It is the glove. He changed the glove.
Got a black glove.
Now, my understanding of the new rule was that they said you could wear any colored glove as long as it wasn't a distraction. Could a red glove inherently be a distraction?
I don't see. I never was a hitter, but I don't see how that would be a distraction, right, Keith?
I don't. It wouldn't bother me. Like you said, only a white glove.
Well, but the seams are red. Could that be the issue?
I think it's bad taste to have a red glove. So, you know,
particularly that Philly red.
So Freddie Garcia, and maybe it's just a mind game on Willie's part, but whatever it is, Garcia has to go into the clubhouse, get a new glove, and start warming up all over again.
Well, I think he'll get his necessary pitches that he deems are enough for him.
Well, when you watch Freddie Garcia pitch, he's the kind of guy that stays right on top, sinker, slider.
And the Rico Philly defense, this is pretty much their starting crew out there. The only guys they kind of platoon is Ruiz behind the plate. They got two right-handed catchers. And Wes Helms, of course, he's the right-hand hitter, and he platoons with Abraham Nunez. He's in at third base today.
So Glavine getting a little extra time to sit around before he takes the mound. Let's see, this game was scheduled to start about 6 or 7 minutes ago. And so Reyes will lead things off, and Reyes has been remarkably successful in this ballpark. Not just the batting average, which we noted earlier, but his career slugging percentage here is .653, which is extraordinary.
Well, he had that great game, that 3-home-run game last year.
I mean, just to put that in perspective, that's the second highest slugging percentage for any Met in history in any particular ballpark. And Garcia falls behind 2-0. Dave Kingman had a .654, 1 point higher at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. It's the only Met with a higher slugging percentage in any ballpark in 46 years. So Reyes has really enjoyed hhis stays here. It's 2-1.
Do you know, as a pitcher, I would not have an extra glove.
Really?
No.
And Garcia falls behind 3-1.
Well, it makes sense. You see the defense here with Reyes. Big gaps out here. Big gaps in there. He sprays the ball all over.
You know, those Philly outfielders like to play shallow.
They don't cover a lot of ground neither.
Of course, with these cold conditions, you can understand playing a little more shallow.
Well, I think that in this ballpark in the summer, the wind blows out so much. There's so many home runs. Why not play shallow? Because anything over your head is probably going to go out of the park.
So Paulo Duca on deck. You see Rowan shallow in center. He's always in. And Reyes lofts one into shallow left center, and that falls for a base hit. And so Reyes, who has been making a habit of leading off first innings with base hits, does it again. Coming back from an 0 for 5 on Saturday, but on base his first time today.
Well, you said we pointed this gap here. What does Reyes do? Right into it. I mean, I would give the lines. You're going to get burned more in the gaps than you are down the lines, particularly a hitter that hits the ball to all fields like Reyes. Burrell might have made that play, Ron, if he'd been playing more in the gap.
I agree. I think that, you know, a lot of hitters like Reyes that hit a lot of triples pull the ball down the lines. Reyes is not like that. He's a gap hitter.
So Reyes immediately aboard, and Freddie Garcia is notorious as a pitcher who's very easy to run against. Last year, 40 out of 42 successful steals against Freddie Garcia.
Well, he has the interesting combination. He does not have a good move, and he's slow to the plate. So that is going to happen.
Remember, this is Garcia's first start of the season. Pitched in spring training, developed biceps tendonitis. There you see the stat on Garcia's stolen bases against. And you know, this is not exactly the way you want to be starting the season coming off the DL in this kind of weather.
Big lead by Reyes.
Not going, and they pitch out. 1-0 to LaDuca.
Well, the Phillies now are 3-8. They split with Houston the last series in here before the Mets came in. They got rained out in the finale. And they've been out 2 days in a row like the Mets with all this rain. They go to Washington after this series, Gary. They've got to win this ball game here. Not got to, but it'd be nice to win this ball game.
Reyes not going, and the curveball in for a strike, and Garcia's got a good curve. It's 1-1.
It's interesting you say that, Keith, because they said it even in the paper today. They were thinking if they can get a win and get some momentum and go to Washington, because everyone feels like Washington is going to be kind of the patsy of the league.
It's hard to get any momentum right now with all these cancellations of games.
Reyes not going the first 2 pitches, but he's going now. And a double clutch by Ruiz, no chance, and Reyes has his 7th stolen base of the year.
Well, a good pitch to steal on here. Look at LaDuca. How many times have we seen that? Paul, of course, giving himself up for Reyes. Not a great jump. He accelerates. I mean, I feel like a broken record here, Gary. You know, it's just the same old thing. He steals bases when he doesn't get good jumps.
Can I tell you something? A lot of our younger listeners don't know what a broken record is. Would you like to explain?
Oh,
that's right.
I'm sorry. A skipped CD. A skip on a skip on a CD.
A broken iPod.
Excuse me.
2-1 to LaDuca. It's a loop. And Garcia misses with a breaking ball, and again he's behind 3-1.
Now, I got to say something, and I'll say it real quick. We'll stay focused on the game. Speaking of broken records, I had work done in my house, had industrial cleaners come in. They industrial cleaned and broke the needle off my turntable. Oh, I am upset.
Those are hard to get.
It's on order.
Rollins a dash to the bag. They may get him, and he's picked off. That's the daylight play, and Reyes is picked off second base for the first out of the game.
Well, that's the play, and you called it, Gary. Daylight. As soon as the pitcher sees daylight between the runner Reyes and the shortstop Rollins, he fires and turns. Good play. Good move by Garcia to second base. That wasn't even close.
Perfect throw. That's what it required, a throw like that right to the base.
And you'll see it. See the daylight there. He turns and throws. And you're right, Keith. That throw was right on the bag. No place for Reyes to slide except into.
And LaDuca is aboard. So a walk from Garcia after he picks Reyes off. 1 out and 1 on for Beltran. Now, what's the base runner's responsibility there? I mean, does he need to be aware of that shortstop? Does he have to understand where he is?
It's always good to look behind you and find out. But the shortstop can creep as the pitcher goes in his stretch. You got to rely on your third base coach.
Because Reyes was completely flat-footed. Here's Beltran, and he takes a strike.
And that is Sandy Alomar Jr., who I think has really been doing a terrific job at coaching third base this year. Very aggressive, sending runners, making be a perfect throw to get the guys. I really like the way the job he's done there thus far.
Beltran faced Garcia quite a bit in the American League and had terrific numbers against him. In 28 at bats, 429 with 3 home runs.
You know, talking about Reyes picked off, I think it's important if you're a base runner, because the pitcher has to spin all the way around, that your lead has to be comfortable enough that if he spins, you can get back in time.
Beltran slops one to short, and that should be 2. Rollins with the step and throw, and Garcia, despite giving up a single and a walk, faces the minimum in the opening inning. No score. Fourth start of the year for Tom Glavine. He's won 2 of his first 3, now at 292 wins in his future Hall of Fame career. As we check out the forward Philadelphia lineup he'll face, and this is the regular lineup for the Phils. Jimmy Rollins has been Glavine's nemesis, and he's been everybody's so far this year. Leads the National League with those 6 home runs.
Well, you look at Tommy Glavine, lineup he's going up against. You said 292. His losses are 192. 100 games over 500. That's just another amazing stat, and an amazing stats for Tom Glavine in his career.
Funny thing is, you know, he was more than 100 games over 500 before he came to the Mets. The last time he was more than 100 games over 500 was in May of '03, his first year with the Mets. Jimmy Rollins leads off, and you know, Glavine, for the first 3.5 years as a Met, was not the same pitcher that he had been in Atlanta through all sorts of circumstances, but the last 1.5 years he's been tremendous. There's a strike to Rollins, 1-1.
Some of it his own doing, some of it the strike zone, and some of it some poor Met teams.
Rollins hit 2 home runs against Glavine last time out, and Glavine misses low, 2-1.
Well, you saw that on base percentage for Jimmy Rollins over 400 at 411, something he's been working on. He's got 8 walks this year. He wasn't a guy that walked very much as early in his career.
It's this one in the air. Everything being pushed back toward the infield tonight in left, and Beltran makes the play, 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on.
And your Lexus New York Metsies defense. That's the same cast of characters, unlike a broken CD. Delgado, Valentin, Reyes, Wright, LaDuca, Alou, Beltran, Green. You have it, folks. Get used to it.
You are a contemporary guy. 1 out and nobody on. Here's Shane Victorino. Now the regular right fielder for the Phillies, hitting at 243. And Glavine throws a fastball for a strike. Victorino, ears nice and warm on the cold night with that double flap helmet. And he breaks his bat but lines it toward the left field line for a base hit. Victorino with terrific speed, and he'll get to second base easily with a 1-out double. Well, he lost a bat but gained 2 bases.
Well, he stands on top of the plate. Glavine comes in with a fastball, and looks like he brought his hands in and got it towards the end of the bat. But that's good hitting right there, and that's a double for Victorino, who is really a better left-hand hitter than a right-hand hitter. And there's another nice angle right there. What a nice shot that was.
You saw Victorino shaking his hands when he got to second base. That's gotta hurt on a night like this.
It hurts, but it's much better when it's a knock.
Here's Chase Utley, whom Glavine has had some good success against. Utley's just 2 for 17 against Glavine. And he thinks about a bunt with Wright playing back and off the line, 1-0.
I just think that Utley is, you see the defense right there, pretty much straight up. Burrow likes to just plant him. He's like a big oak tree out there in the same spot. Get out there in the gap. I'm sorry, that's Alou right there. I'm dreaming.
I hope it's a nice trip.
It's been 2 days off. Give me a break. Actually, more for me. I missed the weekend.
1-1 to Utley.
There he is.
The thing about Alou in his defensive stance, he keeps his feet so widespread apart. You wonder about, look at that. They tell you to keep your feet, what, shoulder width apart, right? It's got to be hard to get your first step from that stance.
Everybody has their own little idiosyncrasies.
And Glavine with the off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2.
Good changeup, down and in. That is a spot that left-handers usually like, something down and in, except that's a changeup, and he's way ahead of it.
You saw the great sink on that changeup. That wasn't a straight change. That just bottom dropped out.
That's the way Glavine's been attacking Utley and Howard, and he's been successful with it. 1-2 to Utley. He comes right back there and misses 2-2.
I just think that down the road, Utley's is a potential batting champion down the road. I think he's only going to get better. He's improved so much hitting against left-handers. When he first came up, lefties gave him trouble. He's made such great improvement as each year's gone by. I like him as a player, and this guy's not too shabby neither.
Ryan Howard, last year's National League MVP, off to a slow start, but he is awfully dangerous, and it's 3-2 now to Utley.
You know, I'm surprised at, guys, in spring training, Tom Glavine was very good at mixing in his curveball. I bet you this cold weather has negated him throwing that pitch.
You know, we talked about it a little bit earlier, Ronnie, during the pregame show. I was very surprised when Rick Peterson had a chance to revamp the rotation with the rainouts that they didn't push Glavine back to start in Miami. Fouled away by Utley. I mean, he's had that problem with his fingers for years, Raynaud's syndrome, where he has trouble getting feeling in his fingers, especially on cold days. And you'd figure, given the option, that they'd want him to pitch in the warmer weather.
Well, that's what I would think, because, you know, it's going to be 75, 80 degrees tomorrow when you guys are in Florida. And that's much easier for a guy like Tom Glavine to have a feel for his changeup. But with all this wind, so far his changeup is really dipping.
3-2 to Utley. And he just gets a piece of that, wastes away a tough pitch.
I think that, you know, I'm sure Tommy would have rather pitched in Florida, but you've got Maine tomorrow, who's coming off a 6-walk game. I think they would put him back a day, let him pitch in the warmth. Tom's been through the wars. Let's face it, he's pitched in cold weather.
If he'd pitched tomorrow, would have set up a juicy matchup between Glavine and Dontrelle Willis. And Utley draws the walk as Glavine misses upstairs with the fastball. That was a great at bat by Utley. He fouled away a couple of very tough pitches to get the walk. So 2 aboard, and Ryan Howard coming up. Howard with just the 1 home run. That was against Ambiorix Burgos at Shea. And 6 RBIs. But if you go back to last year in Howard's MVP season, in his first 11 games, he had 1 home run and 1 RBI.
He had a great second half. Wound up with 58 home runs.
Back to Glavine. Has a chance for 2. Reyes with a relay. Low but handled by Delgado. The double play retires the side. 1-6-3. Glavine with the quick reactions to get it started. No score as we go to the second. We go to the second inning, each pitcher benefiting from a double play to get them through the opening inning. And Carlos Delgado leads off the second against Freddie Garcia. And like Beltran, Delgado had terrific numbers against Garcia in the American League. 28 at bats, a .357 average with 3 home runs. And Garcia misses high, 1-0.
Well, a great fielder is Tom Glavine. This was a difficult play. It's a glove save and a beauty as he catches his ball. Watch the throw to Reyes. Takes him on the other side of the bag. So Reyes just uses the bag in between him and Utley.
Delgado gets out in front and pulls it foul.
Well, you saw where Reyes was positioned up the middle. If Glavine did not make that play, Reyes was right there to make the double play himself. But still, Tom Glavine can field his position. He is the 5-tool pitcher.
1-2 to Delgado.
Well, who would have thought 11 games in that the middle of the Met order would not have a home run?
Well, Delgado and Wright without a home run. You see only 2 other 35 home run hitters last year are without a home run. And Delgado goes down swinging for the first out, so 1 away. Well, this has been a profoundly sad day in the United States with the events at Virginia Tech yesterday, and we send out our sympathies to the families of all those slain and injured. But it was a tough day for the families of 26,000 students as well, and David Wright was part of that. His brother Stephen is a student at Virginia Tech. Kevin Burkhardt caught up with David before the game.
You wake up yesterday, you turn on the TV, you see what's going on. What's your first reaction there?
I mean, you're in shock. I mean, your heart skips a beat, not only because, you know, I have family that goes there, but, you know, just something like this happens in the U.S. I mean, you just can't fathom what goes through somebody's mind to do something, you know, this horrific and this terrible. So, you know, your heart goes out to the families involved. Your heart goes out to those kids. I mean, just seeing the emotion, watching TV, seeing, you know, their reaction, you know, to be so young and you know, to feel safe and go to, you know, a prestigious school like that and then to, you know, see something like this happen, you know, just to see their reaction, their emotion, your heart goes out to them. And, you know, immediately I thought of my brother and, you know, got a hold of my family and made sure that they had spoken to him, which my mother had earlier that morning. And, you know, I got a chance to speak to him about 2 o'clock, and he obviously was shaken up and just trying to, you know, put together the pieces and see if his friends and classmates were okay.
Well, you can imagine how those few minutes, those few moments when David didn't know for sure just how his heart must have been in his mouth. And I think all of us are just devastated watching the events unfold on TV and thinking about how as parents we would react. It's a horrible tragedy, and again, we here at SNY send out our sympathies and join everybody around the country and just feeling devastated by what we saw unfold yesterday in Blacksburg, Virginia.
Now Luke cranks one to left field. Can it get through the wind? Burrow back near the wall, and it's out of here. Moises Alou with a 2-run homer. His first home run as a New York Met, and he hit it through a 25-mile-an-hour wind into the seats in left field. And the Mets go in front 2-0.
It's a day where if you want to hit a home run to left field, you have got to really crush it. And Alou did just that.
Well, Ronnie, it's a hanger. Look, right in the wheelhouse. And I would have thought only a line drive would have got out of here today to left field. That was a fly ball. He crushed it.
Here's Sean Green, and he takes the fastball high from Garcia.
Hitters salivate over those kind of helicopters.
Just goes to show how strong he is. You can see that he was complaining that he kind of lost it a little bit.
1-1 to Green.
Well, this makes up for the one in St. Louis he thought he tagged earlier in the year in the first series in St. Louis. There it is, the helicopter. Oh, look how he opens up. Such a strange hitting style.
It seemed as though he was saying that the wind was blowing at his face and that he didn't see the pitch. For not seeing it, he certainly hit it well enough.
He saw it.
If he didn't see it, he heard it. It was a shot. 2-1 to Sean Green. Mets out to a 2-0 lead. Only the Mets' 7th home run in their first 12 games. They went all 5 games at Shea on the first homestand of the year without hitting a single home run.
Well, I was talking to Moises today, and he said he had Saturday off. He said, boy, I don't like to have this many days off. I lose my rhythm. Well, you didn't lose your rhythm, Moises. Wow.
3-2 to Sean. Well, Alou with his first home run as a Met. And maybe they'll get the middle of the order going in the home run department.
He's a fine player.
Curveball in there for a call, strike 3. Garcia gets Green looking. That's his second strikeout. 2 out.
This is an outstanding slider. This is the one he needed back. That is that good breaking ball Garcia has. Against right-handers, though, he tends to throw that one inside. The one that Alou hit. That's a lot better. More downward movement.
Well, you can see that Freddie Garcia is not the pitcher he used to be. He's not overpowering at all. He's got to have pinpoint control. You see that he's throwing a lot of breaking stuff, change up, spotting his fastball.
You know, there were some teams that were scared off Garcia last year despite winning 17 games because his velocity was down late in the year.
Used to be a 95-mile-an-hour guy. Now down to 89 or 90, maybe tops.
1-1 to Valentine, but even with his velocity down last year, he was winning games.
Well,
I didn't see the ball. That's what he said.
I think you're right. He blinked right before the pitch came, and
the worst on a windy day is if you're a contact lens wearer, because those things will roll up like window shades in your eyes.
Maybe some dirt or dust got in his eye before contact. A lot of times when stuff like that happens, it makes you concentrate more that last, because really it's just a split second before contact.
To close his eyes every at bat.
more often.
If only it was that easy.
2-1 to Valentine, who's trying to get started with the bat.
And he pulls that one past Howard and down the line. It hits the jutting stands. Valentine going to try for two. Victorino with the throw. It hits Valentine and goes into left field. Jose heading for third. Burrell slides after the ball, and Valentine stands safely at third base.
Well, this is going to be an error on Victorino, and it should be a mental error on Burrell. Ball ripped down the line here. Victorino makes a nice throw here. It's a one hop. Just unfortunate that it rolls up the backside of Valentine. But where's Burrell? Nowhere near backing up. And there's the mental mistake right there. Nice swing on a pitch out over the middle, down. And never a hesitation, chugging for two. Good hustle.
So Valentine at third with two out for Glavine, who's 1 for 3 at the plate, and he takes the off-speed pitch for a strike. Glavine already has 5 sacrifices this year in his first 3 starts, but right now looking for a 2-out hit.
Well, you can see they're shaded way over to the right, as you should on every pitcher. Most every pitcher. The great majority.
99%.
1-1 to Glavine, who's looking for his first RBI of the season. Valentine at third and 2 down. Mets with 2 runs home here in the second on Moises Alou's first home run. And Glavine takes the fastball. 2-1.
Who's the best hitting pitcher you ever saw, Keith?
Donnie Robinson, Rick Rhoden on the same team.
Yeah.
That played against us.
I always thought Tim Lawler was the
Lawler
best
could
hitter I
hit
saw.
too, but didn't play as long.
Yeah.
Where he's in the other division. Bob Gibson can hit.
Fernando Valenzuela is pretty good.
Yes,
hitter.
he could hit. Yes.
I'm in his book.
He got you deep. Don't feel bad.
2-2 to Glavine.
You could swing the bat a little bit, Ronnie.
I won the game 3-2 against the Dodgers. Fernando Valenzuela took me deep, and Steve Sachs took me deep. Those are the 2 guys not known for hitting home runs.
Reyes waits on deck, hoping Glavine can keep the inning going. And Garcia throws the off-speed pitch, and Glavine rolls it out to Rollins.
That ends the inning, but the Mets grab the lead. Moises Alou might not have seen it, but he certainly hit it hard enough through the wind for his first home run as a Met.
And it gives Glavine and company a 2-0 lead. Weekday mornings before you head out the door, check out the CW11's Commuter Cast. From traffic tie-ups to train delays, get the up-to-the-minute time-saving traffic reports with Commuter Cast all morning long on the CW11 Morning News. Tommy Glavine stake to a 2-0 lead as Pat Burrell leads off the bottom of the second. And Burrell bloops one to shallow right. And it's beyond Valentine's reach, a base hit for Burrell. I think in the first 4 games we've seen Burrell play, we've already seen him hit more balls to right field than all of last year.
Well, you see the defense here basically straight up in the outfield, and this is, boy, I tell you, if you're in a sand trap, that's beautiful.
So Burrell aboard to start the bottom of the second as we check out our Jeep around the majors. Josh Beckett, nice effort for the Red Sox in their morning game yesterday. And along the way, he hit Vladimir Guerrero on the wrist. X-rays were negative. Morgan Ensberg wins it for the Astros over the Marlins last night with the 9th inning bases loaded hit.
You saw what happened prior to his base hit?
The dropped pop-up on the collision. Joe Borchard running over Dan Uggla.
I got it, you take it, or I got it, they both said I got it.
Borchard butchery. That's
yes.
what it was.
Well, the other big story is the Cubs. Alfonso Soriano goes out yesterday with a hamstring injury. The Cubs lose today in 13 innings, or was it 14? 14 innings to the Padres. And for all the moves that they made, the Cubs are off to a 5-8 start.
Well, I hate to say it, all the moves they made and all the money they've spent. Boy, did they go into the bank.
Burrell, no threat to run. 1-1 to Wes Helms, Glavine's former Atlanta teammate. And he misses with a changeup, 2-1. Saw that graphic earlier where with Delgado and Manny Ramirez, Soriano, a 35+ home run hitter who's not hit a home run yet this year, and it's going to be a while before he gets another chance. Double play ball to third, right with the nice pickup. Valentin with the turn, 5-4-3 double play. Valentin ended up sprawled over Burrell at second base, but they're both okay.
Well, here you see right here, it's a tailor-made two-hopper, right to right. Look at Valentin hang in there. He knows he's going to get it. And Burrell makes a very clean slide here, trying to make it as difficult as possible for Valentin. And he did his job.
Looked like a takedown. WWE at the end of that play. Valentin's gone to those goggles the last few days as Rowan slams one foul.
And he's done that just to keep the wind. The thing that happened to Moises Alou at the plate, he's trying to have that stop happening for him in the field.
And you can get on the cold, windy days like this, you can get runny eyes, and that's the worst when you're up at the plate. You don't want that.
Aaron Rowan off to a terrific start. He's hitting at .342. That's 9th in the National League. And Glavine comes to the inside corner with the fastball, and it's 0-2.
20 double plays for the Mets now. Amazing.
20 double plays in 11+ games. That's phenomenal.
Kudos to the pitching staff there. They're the ones serving them up.
They've also created some of that by issuing a ton of walks. Rowan to center field, and an easy play for Beltran. And Glavine through the second inning. Double plays in each of the first 2 innings for Glavine. And the Mets with a 2-0 lead on a cold night in Philly. We go to the third. The Mets with a 2-0 lead. And here's the Mets' upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets home games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IO Digital Cable. Do you see in HD? And look at where we are in the middle of the week. That's tomorrow, Florida. Warm for 2 days anyway. And then the Mets are back home. 3 with the Braves over the weekend, and then 3 with the Rockies before they head to D.C. weekend after next. Jose Reyes leads off, takes the curveball high. And remember, if you're in the car, you can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN with our buddies Howie Rose, Tom McCarthy, and Ed Coleman.
Now, I'm going to be listening to you guys tomorrow. I don't want any complaints about the humidity or it's too hot.
There's only one thing I'll complain about is Reyes swings and misses at the off-speed pitch, and that's if they turn the air conditioning too high in the booth. I want all that heat, every little ounce we can get. We need to store it up. And Burgos at the end of the dugout, and Willie Randolph really enjoying the weather. I don't know what he's dancing about.
It looked like he was doing the Cabbage Patch.
I think it was Jose Valentin with it. I think Willie was proud of him on that double play because Willie's an old second baseman himself.
Valentin has gotten so quick around the bag, 2-1 to Reyes, for a guy who never really played second base until last year.
I don't know if you guys remember the game last year. Mets won on the West Coast. Valentin had a couple throws clank off his glove at second base. I don't see him making a mistake since then. I mean, on the double plays especially.
I was barbecuing. You guys were on that trip. I missed
Gary
it.
was trying to stay alive.
Reyes keeps threatening to bunt. Now on 2-1. He just watches it sail high, and it's 3-1. And Garcia, who fell behind Reyes and gave up a base hit his first time up, now behind him again. Reyes singled, stole second, and they got picked off in the first inning. And he slices that one foul, 3-2. Jose leading the league in runs scored, despite the fact that the Mets have played so few games.
This telestrator this year got a mind of its own.
Now we know what you do in between innings. He's scribbling on the telestrator.
It wasn't working in between innings. That's, and all of a sudden it did that. Looked like a white tornado.
To second base, and Utley handles the hop and throws out Reyes one away. You remember the old cartoon Winky Dink?
Winky Dink.
You used to have to put like a screen on top of the television, and then you could like draw on it with crayons. That's what we need to get you, because that'll work much better than your telestrator is right now.
Am I that much older than you? I don't remember.
You don't remember Winky Dink?
I don't remember Winky Dink. I don't. Sorry.
I could probably even sing you the song. I think I'll restrain myself. Here's Laduca with one out. Laduca drew a walk his first time up. Ball is hitless in his last 7 at bats to drop his average under 300. And Garcia misses up and in. And
Well, you got to believe that these guys are looking forward. You get into the Mets will get into Miami tonight around 3 o'clock, but they'll be very happy to be in 80-degree weather.
you know what the best part about that will be? The first step off the plane.
Yes.
And feeling that warm breeze.
This will probably be the first day of the year I'll sleep past 10 o'clock too, since we're getting in at 3.
No need for ski caps or hoods. And Keith will be sleeping.
Well, these are for the folks out there. These are, when you tell people, Ronnie, and you know, I sleep to 12 noon. They think we're crazy. Well, it's getaway days like this that get you into night games, that get you in when you get into town at 3 o'clock. By the time you get to the hotel, it's 3:30. You get to bed almost 4. You're going to sleep to 12 noon.
Well, it's normal. The hard part is when you go home and have those, which we will have Thursday night into Friday, because when you're home, it's hard to sleep late.
Because of the Bambinos?
Yes. And the canines.
Doesn't mom
and the canines?
Doesn't mom say, "Be quiet, Daddy's sleeping"?
The kids might listen. The dogs don't.
Because my mom sure did that.
That's right. Your dad was a fireman, so he had those
night watch. The night watch.
Night watch. Wow.
1-2 to Laduca, and he ignores low. Splitter from Garcia, and it's 2-2. Carlos Beltran waiting to follow. Mets have grabbed a 2-0 lead on Moises Alou's first home run as a Met. Number 320 lifetime for Alou. And another split misses, and it's 3-2.
The Mets are quite a traveling show, aren't they, guys? When we go to the hotels, they have so many key players and great players that a lot of autograph people at every hotel they're at.
Like we said on opening day, rock stars. On 3-2, Laduca pulls one over the bag, just foul, and it stays in with a 3-2 count. You know, I was thinking about Alou. 320 home runs, lifetime 300 hitter. If he had not lost the equivalent of about 4 seasons because of injury, we would be talking about a guy who might be headed for the Hall of Fame. Laduca tries to hold up, but he went around. And he's punched out for the second out. Third strikeout for Garcia.
Well, this pitch is up in the strike zone. You don't usually see this from Laduca, who seldom strikes out, but that fastball up had a lot of movement.
Think you have the best hat collection in New York? Well, SNY and New Era are teaming up to find out, and the winner gets an autographed game-worn Mets cap. The New Era hat collection contest. Log on to SNY.TV to enter and win. Here's Beltran with 2 out and nobody on, and he takes ball 1 from Garcia.
Yep, it's cold.
I don't think a baseball cap quite cuts it for staying warm tonight, does it?
Nor a cold glass of beer on those hands. No, thank you.
And the curveball misses 2-0. You know what the most misleading number is tonight? The most misleading number tonight is 48, because that's the game time temperature.
Yeah. Oh.
And it does not feel like 48. More like 28. Beltran tries to hold, and that one he stopped in time. It's 3-0. Who has it worst? Is it the guys in the dugout? Is it the guys out in the field? Who has it worst on these cold, windy nights?
Well, I never was on the bench very much.
And Beltran swinging 3-0 and rips a base hit to right field. And the Mets have their 5th hit off Freddie Garcia.
Well, usually in the dugouts, as you look at Carlos here, stays nice and level, out over the plate, belt high, out enough where it got out of his happy area, the ball he likes to drive.
Time for your NSNY text poll of the game. Tonight's question: in 2007, fans can participate in the text poll from their cell phones on the web. What do you think is the Mets' biggest competition in the NL East? Well, you got 4 choices since there are 4 other teams. Text your response to 57508 or visit sny.tv to enter. Remember, stay tuned for the results later in tonight's game. We'll see how many votes go for D.
I take back my statement I made earlier that the Nationals would lose more games than the 62 Mets.
Well, they've already won 4.
They're 4-9, right?
Yeah. Delgado takes ball 1. They're down tonight to the Braves 4-0 in the 3rd. Freddie Garcia making his first start for the Phillies, coming back from biceps tendonitis. He has been an innings eater 6 straight years, 200 or more innings. Only one active player has a longer streak going, and that's Glavine Hernandez. And Delgado points that one off the catcher Ruiz, and it's 1-2.
That's a good cut by Delgado here, just under it. Watch his reaction after the swing. He let go of his hand, he lost his grip, and that may have been the difference, because that was not intentional for him to, for the bat to come out of his top hand.
Beltran at first with 2 down. Carlos has only stolen 1 base so far this year. It's 1-1 to Delgado. And there's a strike 1-2, and Delgado did not think so.
Well, Delgado's arguing that ball's high. That was a changeup. I'd have to say, and I'm a former pitcher, I think that ball's high. Now, if they're calling it straight by the strike zone underneath the letters, but that's usually a pitch you don't see called for a strike.
Nowadays, yes, for quite some time.
I'm surprised Beltran's not running here with Garcia as poor at holding runners as he is. There he goes, and Delgado bounces 1 foul. So on 1-2, Beltran takes off. And Freddie Garcia has been a workhorse and has been a successful pitcher.
Well, the workhorse is the right word. He's just one of those guys you throw out there, and he's supposed to be with Adam Eaton, with Jamie Moyer, with Brett Myers. They're supposed to be the difference makers in this NL East. That's why Jimmy Rollins said what he said, was that pitching staff.
Of course, they've got issues in the bullpen, and they've had issues getting Garcia to the mound, but now he's out there for the first time.
Well, Freddie's greatest year was 18-6 back in 2001 with Seattle. He had a 3.05 earned run average. He broke in '99 and was 17-8 as a rookie.
Remember, he was in the Houston organization, traded to Seattle in the deal that sent Randy Johnson to the Astros.
You know, that year you mentioned, Keith, he led the league in ERA. I mean, led the American League in ERA and innings pitched.
1-2 to Delgado. Beltran runs, and Delgado takes low. Ruiz with the throw way too late. And that was a classic case of Garcia just taking way too long to get the ball home. Beltran has his 2nd stolen base.
Well, true to form here, you could steal off Garcia, the Mets' 2nd stolen base of the night, and a howitzer would not have thrown him out. That's just a very good jump. Look at his beautiful strides. He is a very graceful runner, Beltran.
So Carlos is now in scoring position for his fellow Carlos.
You know, Gary Carter used to give up a big jump to a runner. Oh, remember, he would pretend like he was going to throw it to second, and then just drop his head like, hey, it's not my fault.
Right. Yes.
And then toss you the ball. Oh, man, that used to make me so angry.
Well, you know what Lou Brock told me about Johnny Bench in '78 when I started coming on and Lou was hitting ahead of me. Lou said, don't take a pitch from me. He goes, Johnny Bench will put down #1 if I'm on base. You just sit on fastball. He'll put down #1. And sure enough, Johnny Bench put down #1.
Because Johnny Bench wanted to throw you out. Or throw Lou out.
2-2 to Delgado, and he struck him out. Came inside with the fastball. 4th strikeout for Freddie Garcia. The 2nd time he's gotten Delgado. But it's the Mets with a 2-0 lead, middle of the 3rd. Tom Glavine with a 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. The SNY sights and sounds of the game are presented by Hummer like nothing else, and we're very pleased to be joined by Mets hitting coach Rick Down on this cold night. And Rick, with all the cold weather and all the rainouts and the days off, what's it like for you right now trying to keep everybody sharp?
Well, with the routine, the batting practice, and yes, there's no you got to play the game. You got to keep the it's game speed, but you keep the routine and you hope that in some instances the time off it can help some of the guys, but playing the game, there's no substitute. We just hope we can stay in the game and keep going. And the weather too obviously has an effect. The cold weather is but it affects both teams, so you just got to keep grinding, be relentless. And
a sparkling play by Jose Reyes to get the inning started as he throws out Carlos Ruiz.
Rick, I know that this is Keith here with a lot of cage hitting right now. A lot of the fields are covered up. Hitters hate cage hitting, but it's something you have to do to stay sharp, and you need lots of arms. Do you have enough coaches that can throw BP?
Yeah, we do, especially in the cage. You'd be surprised how much more difficult it is on the field than throwing in the cage. When you're in the cage, you have some tunnel vision, and it makes it a lot easier to throw strikes. And when you get on the field, it's like a wide open space. And let's face it, the guys like to hit on the field, and obviously see the lay of the land, be able to have the background. We haven't been here this year, this being the first time, but so far it hasn't affected us by too much.
Well, Moises Alou got a hold of one tonight. He hadn't played a game in 3 days, and from what seemed like he was indicating, I'm not sure if he even saw the ball, but he somehow hit it through that wind, and he just crushed it.
He crushed it. I mean, his spring training was less, how would you say, less than perfect. But a veteran player, and as Willie had said often, is you got to trust your veteran players. They know what they got to do to get themselves ready. And when the lights came on, he's obviously stepped his game up, and he's one heck of a hitter. And I mean, he crushed that ball with the wind blowing like it is. He might have hit it over into the second deck if it had been a calm day.
You know, Rick, every time I see you, I see Howard Johnson also. And I know you and Hojo, every time you go down in the cages, Hojo's with you. How's he doing so far in his first year?
Well, he's great. And the guy, I mean, he's got a good rapport with a lot of the players. And he's very good with hitting. And we just share ideas and thoughts. And I'm continually asking him what he sees. And, I'm looking for help. I wish I had all the answers, but I don't. And Howard, he was a great player. He's a good coach, and together, hopefully, we can do a better job of trying to get these guys right and keep them right. And it's a team effort, and I'm thankful that he's around and he's helping me.
Rick, Jose Reyes continues to be a phenomenon. I mean, the guy had such a great year last year, and it just seems as though every day he does something that makes you pay attention. And he seems to have added a little more patience to his game this year, but it doesn't seem to be affecting his aggressiveness. Is that by design?
Yes, it is. And I mean, he's worked hard at it. I think he understands that basically as good as the pitchers he swings at will make him the hitter he is, and it's not much different than driving a car. You got to, before you want to go somewhere or get somewhere, you got to put your foot on the gas pedal. But as you know, if you just on the gas, you're going to end up running into something, and you got to be aggressive but under control. And he right now is living proof that if you're ready to hit and you go up there, and his intentions are to swing the bat to get a base hit, and if it's not there though, he's taking the walk. And if he takes the walk, as he goes, we go.
Jimmy Rollins with the base hit, and that'll send Garcia down to second, so 2 aboard for the Phillies. One more before I let you go, Rick.
All right.
Alou's home run is only your 7th in 12 games. Do you attribute the relative lack of power mostly to the weather right now?
A lot of it has to do with the weather, and as you know, there's ebb and flow. As they say, this too shall pass. We're gonna come. There'll come a time during the season where we'll get real hot and hit a bunch of home runs, and you know, and that too shall pass. But we have a good combination of power and speed, but we do have the ability, and will. When it happens, it's going to happen, and it happens in spurts. You know, it's very streaky, and hopefully, you know, we just find ways to win, and I hope that continues.
Well, Rick, thanks for joining us, and stay warm, will you?
Oh, I will. Keep moving.
All right, Mets hitting coach Rick Down joining us from the dugout. Meanwhile, Tom Glavine having his difficulties here in the third. A one-out walk to the pitcher Garcia, a following hit by Rollins, and now the tying runs aboard. And Shane Victorino takes low and away, 2-0.
Well, Jose Reyes made that great play. This might be a disaster. You know, when you're at the bottom of the lineup, and Tom Glavine knows this better than anyone, you really want to get through that 8 and 9 because you don't want to put extra runners on with these big hitters for the Phillies coming up. He's in that predicament now.
And Victorino takes ball 3.
Well, here the right just can't get to it in the backhand. Ruiz doesn't run well, but doesn't run that badly. And look at Reyes here. Kind of hesitated a little bit. But look at the strength of the arm off balance. That's the play. I can't say enough about his defense. He's just an all-around player.
And Victorino takes a strike 3 and 1. I think at first he thought Wright was going to get to that ball, and that's probably why he hesitated.
But you don't assume. You could take a bad hop.
He has such faith in his arm, though, from whatever angle he's throwing from. 3-1 to Victorino.
Pulls it on the ground at third. Tough man to double up. He gets one, and that's all.
Valentin throwing behind Garcia, but he gets back. Took Wright a little time to get rid of that ball, and with Victorino running, no chance for a double play. So 2 out.
Well, I'm not going to get picky here. Watch Wright with a double tap. See, that's a double play with a fast runner. No wasted motion. I don't think they would have turned to with Victorino's speed if he had not had the double tap. But they might have been able to. I've said it before, and I'm not nitpicking. It's just a glaring bad habit that David Wright has.
Keith, was there any option here for David Wright to go to third and tag third and try to go to first?
I don't think it was close enough to the bag to do that with the speedy Victorino.
So first and third and 2 out, and Chase Utley, who walked his first time up, and Glavine comes low and in, and Utley fouls it away.
See Utley's numbers. He's started out a little slower than he's used to. Howard has started out a little slower. A lot of it has to do with the weather. I think it's very difficult for the hitters to stay loose when you're having all these days off.
One thing the Phillies have done extraordinarily well this year is draw walks, as Utley falls behind on the count 0-2.
That's a good point, Gary, because you know that goes with the pitching. That's the problem for the pitchers, is having their control, and the hitters are just staying loose.
Phillies have drawn 2 walks tonight. That's 71 for the year. They had 69 in their first 11 games. That's the most in the first 11 games of the season for any team since the 1949 Red Sox. Ted Williams and Junior Stevens and that whole bunch.
Johnny Pesky.
0-2 to Utley, and he goes the other way, but foul. You see the Phillies easily leading the National League in walks.
And that puts them on top of the National League in on-base percentage coming into this game at .374. The Mets are number 2.
Yet the Mets have averaged almost a run per game more than the Phillies have, because the Phillies have had big problems getting the big hit. 0-2 to Utley. And the fastball misses. Did that just say 92 on our gun?
It's an awful fast cambio.
I'm not sure that Glavine's thrown 92 since high school.
He's going on his TiVo. He's going to frame that.
If he's throwing a 92-mile-an-hour changeup, he better have a 110-mile fastball.
2-0 New York. Tying runs aboard here in the third for the Phils. And Glavine checks in on Victorino.
What's interesting about the walks, Gary, is that their hitting coach is Milt Thompson. And Milt Thompson, I pitched many years against him. He was, as soon as he saw it, he was swinging.
He could hit.
He could hit, but he very aggressive.
There's Milt with the ski cap on underneath the hat. One of the fine guys.
Good guy.
A good guy.
Yeah.
Good left-hand hitter.
Number of terrific years with the Cardinals. And Utley fouls that one off LaDuca's hand.
That's bad in this weather. Ouch.
It's the one part of your body you can't cover as a catcher is that throwing hand.
It's funny. Usually the catchers try to put it behind them. See? Hide it behind their shin guard. But it just got out there just enough. Wow.
Didn't have it tucked away quite well enough.
A lot of catchers put it behind the small of their back. LaDuca leaves it kind of dangling down.
It was Johnny Bench who first started that,
yes,
wasn't it?
I believe it was.
One-handed catch.
Yeager did it, Steve Yeager. You can see his hand dangling. It's exposed. And that's, oh, I hit him. Oh, that hurt.
That really stings on any night, but particularly when the wind chill is down in the 20s. The Mets ticket marketplace is the easiest and best way to access premium seat locations at Shea. Sign up for your membership now at Mets.com. Members can purchase available Prime Club and box seats for single games directly from the Mets ticket marketplace. For more information, visit Mets.com. Now, last year, LaDuca played virtually the entire season with a torn ligament in the thumb of his left hand. Here he takes a shot off his throwing hand. And he'll test it out, but you know LaDuca, he's staying in the game.
He's tough.
That's why they don't all come running when they say in Little League, hey, who wants to catch?
They all want to catch for one day.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Then they want to play somewhere else.
I think when they called it the tools of ignorance, it wasn't because you were a dummy back there, but you were a dummy to want to be a catcher.
Garcia at third, Victorino at first, 1-2 the count to Utley with 2 out. And Glavine hits him. And Utley goes to first base, nicked by the changeup, and the bases are loaded for Ryan Howard.
Well, that's the 4th hit by pitch of the season for Utley, this young season.
Did that hit him?
That hit just ticked his.
Barely got.
Ticked his.
Where his shirt is blounched. That's what it hit.
That's a no pain hit batsman. So now Howard bats with the bases full.
That's not even taking one for the team.
It's taking one for the haberdasher. Howard hit a comebacker into a double play his first time up. So a key early moment in this game for Glavine with a 2-0 lead in the third. Bases loaded, 2 out.
Well, Howard's only 3 for 20 this season against left-handers.
58 home runs a year ago. And Glavine misses with the changeup, 1-0. Howard's got such great power to left field, but left field is not an easy spot tonight. Although Moises Alou was able to beat that win. Infield tilted to the right, and Howard takes a strike. Garcia is at third, Victorino at second, Utley at first with 2 out. On 1-1, Howard takes in the dirt, knocked down by LaDuca, 2-1.
Well, here comes a very critical pitch right here.
This changeup just down. Good job by LaDuca blocking that ball, smothering it.
If Glavine misses here, it's 3-1, and boy, he's in it behind the 8 ball.
Chilled crowd producing heat. Fooled him badly, and it's 2-2.
Well, this is what you can do if you are a great pitcher like Glavine. 2-1, no problem. Another changeup. You know that Ryan Howard, even though he's such a great hitter, he's got to be thinking fastball even off Glavine.
And the changeup knees in black outside corner, Ron.
Yeah.
Another changeup, and that one misses. 3-2.
Well, you know the old saying, if you're going to throw it 2-2 and 3-2, I mean, throw it 1-2, 2-1, 2-2, you can throw it 3-2. So I'll get it right.
You got to it. Now the merry-go-round will be in motion with 3-2 and 2 down. Ball 4, and it forces in a run. Glavine came fastball on 3-2, but he missed low. And now the Met lead is sliced to 2-1. The third walk given up by Glavine, who's now walked 11 batters in 20 innings this year.
Is that the one thing, Ronnie, as a pitcher that upset you the most? You ever walked in a runner?
No, what would upset me if I was on the mound, I'd go, the guy who scored the run would upset me. That was Freddie Garcia, the pitcher, who he walked.
So here's Pat Burrell with the bases full, and he fouls the first one back.
Well, Tom Glavine has had a lot of success with Howard going after him with changeups. There's the first one for a ball, and he gets behind 2-0. Oh, sorry, 1-1. Gets behind 2-1. Throws an excellent one down in the corner. Tried to do it 2 more times and could not come up with the pitch. Both in the same spot. And that happens in this kind of weather.
That was 6 straight changeups he threw him.
He was not going to give in to him. That to me shows how dangerous other pitchers feel Ryan Howard is that they just will not give in to him. Almost like they'd rather walk in a run and get Burrell out than go after Howard.
On 1-1, Burrell takes a strike on the inside edge. And now Glavine ahead 1-2.
Well, good fastball, rare fastball for Glavine in this inning. Ties up Burrell inside.
It's been a hard-working inning for Glavine with a run already home. Now trying to nurse a 2-1 lead. Hit hard to the right of Valentine. And so Glavine minimizes the damage, hurts himself by walking the pitcher, walks in a run, but the Phillies only get one, and the Mets retain the lead. Well, we're moving so quickly. We waddle into the Aflac trivia question. Freddie Garcia has won 116 games, most by a Venezuelan-born pitcher. Who is second on that list? Well, Paul Aduca took that shot off his meat hand.
You know, and it's something that requires ice, and the last thing you want to put on it in this cold day is ice.
Maybe if you go down the tunnel and put ice on it, maybe that's a good idea. Some place where there's a heater.
That hurts. You can see it.
David Wright leads off the 4th inning. Mets now with a 2-1 lead. Freddie Garcia has thrown a lot of ball ones tonight. David had a base hit his first time up, is now hit in 24 straight games. And in some quarters you might read that ties a Mets club record. It doesn't. The Mets record for a single season hitting streak is 24, shared by Hubie Brooks and Mike Piazza. But Wright's streak is a 2-season streak. It's an entirely different category, which he now has that mark in.
As it should be.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this the other night, and we were speculating about when 2-season streaks became the equivalent. And I spoke to some folks at the Elias Sports Bureau, and they straightened that whole thing out. 1 and 2. They said it's always been the case that there are 2 separate categories, one for single season streaks and one for multiple season streaks. And well, Wright now has a 24-game multiple season hitting streak. Now, Paul Aduca is looking as though he might be coming out of this game. And Wright held the swing in time. It's 2-2. And it takes a pretty good hack to get him out of any game. So we'll see. John Lieber up in the Phillies bullpen. Remember, it's Garcia's first start of the season coming off the disabled list. And yeah, Ramon Castro's getting ready to come in the game. And Wright taps one slowly foul. So it looks like Loduca is leaving after taking that shot off his throwing hand. And I would imagine they'll probably take him for some precautionary x-rays.
I would absolutely have to get some x-rays there because you could easily hurt a bone in your hand.
It's not feeling any better, that's for sure.
So he's trying to shake it off, and you're bringing out your heavy socks.
Talking to Keith.
Talking to Keith.
My feet are freezing. I got
3-2 now to Wright. Garcia's up to 65 pitches, and I would imagine they don't want him throwing much more than about 80 in his first start out. And that's why Lieber is up in the bullpen. We saw Lieber in relief on opening day at Shea, and it did not go well for the Phillies. A guy who's been a starting pitcher his whole career. 3-2 to Wright leading off the fourth. And he taps one down to third. Handled by Helms. Low throw. And Howard able to dig it out for the first out.
Well, I'll say one thing for Ryan Howard here. He's not the greatest of fielders, but he's got a nice little scoop glove over there. He can pick it over there on balls in the dirt. He is very adept at that. He needs to work on the other aspects of his defense.
Well, here's Moises Alou, who gave the Mets the lead with a 2-run homer against the wind to left field. His first home run as a Met. And he takes a strike from Garcia.
Well,
first pitch.
The old hanger in the wheelhouse.
Well, that might have been in Harry's restaurant if this was the summer.
Harry the K is up above the second deck in left field. I mean, he just tattooed that ball. And it still went well back in the crowd despite the wind. 1-1 to Moises. Alou now with 320 career home runs. There's Harry Callis.
A young Harry Callis.
A couple of years ago.
The golden voice of the NFL.
And longtime voice of the Phillies. Hall of Fame broadcaster. 2-1 to Alou.
He's one announcer's voice I never get tired of. Listen to him all the time.
Yes. He's also the voice on the Chunky Soup commercials, the NFL.
Oh, that's
yes,
right.
he is.
The NFL Chunky Soup commercials.
Well,
there he is.
When John Facenda passed on, he was the longtime voice of NFL films. Harry was the only guy who could possibly replace him. That voice of God sound. And Garcia falls behind 3-1. Here's Harry with Richie Ashburn, his great friend and longtime colleague. Garcia behind in the count again, 3-1. And Alou takes a strike. Good pitch by Garcia, 3-2.
Gary, it's your profession. Ronnie and I are ex-players. Who was your favorite announcer?
Baseball announcer? Well, there's only one.
Or the whole shebang.
Well,
who was your favorite?
I grew up as a huge Marv Albert fan, but Marv was never a baseball announcer. But for baseball, there's only one, and that's Vin Scully.
Okay.
And there's nobody else in the same league. 3-2 to Alou. And again, he gets something in his eye. Remember, he couldn't see the ball when he hit the home run his first time up. I think he'd like to have his eyes open this time.
If he makes an out, close him the next time.
Well, he just struck out. I don't know whether his eyes were on the ball or not. 5 strikeouts now for Freddie Garcia. Who'd you grow up listening to?
The one I loved as a kid was a total homer. Not even that good, but if you're from Boston, you love Johnny Most and the Celtics.
Okay.
He had the real hoarse voice, and every team that came in was an awful team. Only the Celtics were good, so that was the guy I liked listening to.
Did you ever listen to Ned Martin growing up with the Red Sox?
Yes, I did. Great.
I love Ned Martin. Tremendous, silky, calm sound.
Calm.
I grew up with Russ Hodges and Lon Simmons with the Giants.
Another couple of greats.
But I liked.
Green hits one in the air to deep right center, but the wind knocks this one down, and Rowan coming in now. That retires the side.
I like Brookshire and
Pat Summerall.
Pat Summerall, that group. I thought they were great.
1-2-3 inning for Freddie Garcia. Still 2-1 New York. Before we go to the bottom of the fourth, let's answer our Aflac trivia question. We asked you who was second on the list of wins from a Venezuelan-born pitcher, and the answer, Wilson Alvarez, who had 102 and whom Garcia passed last year for the all-time record.
Didn't Wilson Alvarez throw a no-hitter in his first game?
Second
game.
Second major league start. Down to David Wright, and he handles the grounder by Helms. One pitch and one retired for Glavine, who could really use a quick inning. You know, not only does Garcia have the record for Venezuelan-born pitchers, he's one of 12 current major leaguers from Caracas, Venezuela. And I was interested to see that there are only 4 cities that have produced more current major leaguers than Caracas. 2 cities in the Dominican leading the way, and then Houston and San Diego. There's Freddie, who has given the Phillies some rotation depth with his acquisition from the White Sox and the deal for Gavin Floyd. Here's Aaron Rowan, and he takes a strike from Glavine.
Bobby Abreu, who played right field here and now with the Yankees. I believe he's from Caracas.
Glavine threw 31 pitches in the third inning. Trying to settle himself back in. And he misses with the curveball. And it's 1-1. Ramon Castro taking over behind the plate with Paul LaDuca leaving after taking a foul ball off his throwing hand, and try and get a report on Paul. 2-1 to Rowan.
Well, as soon as you know your first string catcher is out, you want to spend time on the bench talking to Ramon Castro, telling him what's working, what's not working, in case he hasn't been watching really closely.
El Duque's got all the angles. 2-2 to Rowan.
The Iceman cometh.
That's not the Iceman. That's the very cold man. He's thinking to himself, we didn't have days like this in Cuba. 2-2 to Rowan. Lined right into the glove of right for the second out. So Rowan retired, 2 away. Take the train to the game when the Mets honor the legacy of Jackie Robinson this Friday night, April 20th. The pregame celebration will begin at 6:30 before the Mets host the Braves. Go to Mets.com today for more information and to get your tickets. That's rescheduling the Jackie Robinson celebration after the rainout Sunday. Here's Carlos Ruiz, who takes ball 1, and we're expecting Jackie's widow, Rachel, to be at the game and hopefully with us in the booth on Friday night.
I will look forward to that.
2-0 to Ruiz, who was thrown out on a brilliant play by Reyes his first time up. Black foul off to the right, 2-1. Carlos Ruiz sharing the catching duties for the Phillies with Rod Barajas. And Ruiz, technically a rookie, is off to a very good start. Glavine working with a 2-1 lead. And the changeup in for a strike, 2-2. Pitch count not too far out of whack considering he had that 131 pitch inning. If he can end this inning right here, he'll be right on track. And the changeup misses low, and it's 3-2.
Glavine, you just have to be so patient as a hitter, because he's I don't want to say nibbling because that's a derogatory term. He's just a master.
And he walks the number 8 hitter after getting ahead of Ruiz, and that's got him a little upset. That's the 4th walk issued by Glavine, who's also hit a batter tonight.
Let me ask you, Keith, it doesn't happen, or I don't see it happen anymore. Guys who, against a pitcher who doesn't throw that hard, they'd move up in the box.
You can move up in the box or on top of the plate. If I was a right-hand hitter against Glavine, I would be right 1 inch off the inside corner and daring him to throw me a fastball in. But the key to going that close to the plate is not swinging at the bad pitch outside.
Freddie Garcia tops one foul.
The point there is that when you stand on top of the plate, if you put your bat out over the hitting area over the plate, the barrel of the bat is on the outside corner. So, you know, now you got to make him throw an outside corner strike, and you can dare him to throw you in. I mean, you step on top, make it noticeable.
0-2 to Garcia.
If I made an adjustment in the game where a guy was getting me out, say away, I would make it noticeable that I moved on top of the plate. Maybe the catcher see it, the pitcher see it, and then them thinking I'm more worried about the pitch away, and then look in.
Very sneaky.
Garcia strikes out on the changeup. First strikeout of the night for Glavine. Jose Reyes due up third in the inning. Reyes has already been fully involved tonight. A base hit, great defensive play, even getting picked off. Weekday afternoons between 4 and 6, log on to CW11.com for live traffic updates from the CW11's Commuter Cast. Check with Commuter Cast before you hit the road to find the fastest way home or the easiest way to Shea. We go to the 5th inning. The Mets with a 2-1 lead thanks to Moises Alou's 2-run homer back in the 2nd. Tommy Glavine preparing for his turn at bat. He'll be due up 2nd here in the 5th after Jose Valentin leads it off. Valentin pulled a double down the right field line his first time up, as his bat has just started getting going the last few games. It's got to be awfully tough, Keith, if you're in a slump early in the season and the team's playing every 3rd day to get yourself out of it.
Well, it's a grind in the cold weather. It's even worse if you got someone chomping at your heels that's going to take your job, and you want to get it going, and you just don't need the rain delays. I mean, not the rain delays, the postponements. You need to play early in the season. You know, they have too many off days because of potential rainouts in April, and you don't need them there. You really need the off days in July and August when it's hot.
Well, there have been more postponements this year than any time in the last decade in the month of April. 2-0 to Valentin, and you know, nobody can do anything about the weather, obviously, but one thing they're going to try and do, I think, in future years is keep teams that only have one visit to a city from making that visit in April. That's the situation they ran into with Seattle and Cleveland, where the whole series got postponed. There's a strike, 2-1.
You remember was it back in the 80s or was it the 70s that they had the schedule where they had everybody playing out west or in the south to prevent April rainouts?
Late 90s, really. They did that for a couple of years as Jeff Geary gets up in the Phillies bullpen. But you know what happened? They went to the warm weather cities the first week, and then it rained in the east the second week, which is basically what's happened this year.
Yeah, I remember it being a complete, utter failure.
That would make it a failure. Of course, the solution is just to put a dome on every stadium, but that's not
we don't want domes,
either.
do we?
Right. Well, retractable ones.
Oh, yes. You got the money?
No, that's the problem. Clearly. Otherwise, everybody would have one. Valentin rips one down the line, but it hooks and goes foul. Check out our Luggage Express box score. Moises Alou with the big hit, a 2-run homer, his first of the year. And that's the difference in the game right now. The Mets with a 2-1 lead.
Well, you know, you never can protect against the rain in April because it can rain in May, July, whatever. But I'm on board for day games in April.
Well, of course, then you deal with television issues. And Valentin goes down swinging, and that's 6 strikeouts now for Freddie Garcia. Time for a baseball night in New York update. Let's go to New York and Matt Yaloff.
All right, Gary, Braves and Nationals in the nation's capital. Jeff Brancourt with a sac fly here puts the Braves up 3-0 in the first. In the second inning, the Nationals come out wearing Virginia Tech hats to show their support for the folks in Blacksburg.
Braves started the night a half game up on the Mets in the National League East after getting beat last night by Matt Chico and the Nationals. Ball 1 to Glavine. I'm not keeping track of first pitch strikes. Has Garcia thrown one yet tonight?
He's thrown one, but yeah, he's struggling. But he's still getting the job done so far.
5 of the first 18 hitters he's thrown first pitch strikes. 1-1 to Glavine. That's not a very good ratio. That's 28%.
But you take away the one mistake, he's got a shutout.
You have to figure this is going to be his last inning. First start of the year, coming off the DL. And Glavine lines one up the middle, a base hit. So Glavine got on the off-speed pitch and hit it right back up the middle, and the Mets had their 6th hit off Garcia.
Well, this is a rope here and almost takes off the shoulder of Garcia. Thank goodness he followed through.
That was very similar to the pitch that Moises Alou hit, wasn't it? That hanging breaking ball that just hangs in the middle of the plate.
And with apologies to Ron Darling, Glavine puts the jacket.
Cannot get on Tom Glavine. He played hockey.
Not only did he play hockey, but he was a hockey coach this past winter for his kids in the Atlanta area. Bet you didn't know they played hockey in Atlanta.
The Thrashers.
There's Reyes. I think the Thrashers are getting thrashed tonight by the Rangers, no?
It was 3-0 there for a while. We haven't checked. Al, Big Al, what's the score of the Rangers? Okay. No more new information from Al. What new?
Reyes is 1 for 2, singled and stole a base in the first, and then Garcia picked him off second. It's 5-0 Rangers now, we're told. There's a strike, and it's 0-2.
There's Al. Smile, Al.
Al looks like he's always happy. You ever see Al not smile?
I've seen his dark side. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
No.
I don't want to hear
guy.
about it. Late swing at a foul ball.
And that was the lovely Becky to the right of Big Al there. She's always here in Philly and up in the booth with us.
Our stage manager.
Yes. Say hi, Beck. Are you warm?
She's not warm. Nobody's warm. Not here. Garcia ahead of Reyes 0-2 with Castro on deck. Taking Loduca's place in the lineup. And Reyes lifts one to left, and Burrow hops toward the line. That's the second out, and Glavine goes back to first. Burrow looked like somebody woke him from a nap going after that ball.
Sometimes I wonder. You might have been right.
So 2 away. Now Castro comes up for the first time. Loduca left the game after taking a foul tip off his throwing hand. Toughed it out for the rest of that inning, but then left the game. And Castro up for the first time. Ramon 1 for 7 to start the year. That one was a home run in his first at bat of the year in Atlanta. And you know, you certainly hope that Loduca is fine after taking that ball off his hand. But remember that the Mets, if Loduca were to be lost for any period of time, have got veteran help at AAA. 2 very veteran catchers in Mike DeFelice and Sandy Alomar Jr. Yeah, Castro takes a strike 1-1.
And Junior had a change of heart because he said he would not go to AAA and decided to go down there just in case something happened to the Mets catchers. And there's Pops, Sandy Alomar Sr.
Sandy Alomar Jr. was going to retire until the Mets invited him to spring training and saw it as a chance to keep his career going and spend some quality time with his dad, which he did this spring. On 1-1, Castro lines one into left field, a base hit. So another pitch up in the zone from Garcia, and Castro got all over it, and the Mets have 2 aboard for Beltran.
Well, it's a high fastball. Watch the level swing. That is, look at the follow through. Level plane. That's a ball you can drive out of the ballpark. But I think what Ramon was thinking, it's cold. He's come off the bench. The wind is blowing hard in from left field. I'm going to hit line drives today. You can see right here the contact and watch the follow through. If we can let it go, watch the plane. See how he stays right there? That's beautiful, level, high. Yeah, that's how you hit a high pitch.
So now a chance for Carlos Beltran to expand on the Mets' 2-1 lead. Garcia up to 90 pitches on the night, and you have to wonder whether he's starting to lose a little bit of steam in his first start of the year. Beltran 1 for 2, swung on 3-0 and singled to right his last time up. And Carlos goes after the first one, slices it toward the left field corner. Burrow won't get there. An extra base hit for Beltran. Glavine scores. Castro to third. It's an RBI double for Carlos Beltran, and it's 3-1 New York. Beltran goes the other way and hits it well beyond the reach of Burrow to drive in his 11th run of the year.
That's a good pitcher's pitch right there. It looked like Carlos was looking to go that way, knee-high outside corner. And this is slicing away from Burrow. And Burrow doesn't have the greatest of speed. And this is where the defense, you can see Burrow right here. He's not running not that far to run. And someone with any kind of speed probably makes that play. And that's the importance of defense.
If it had been any other than Castro, he probably would have scored from first on that play.
I agree with you 100%. Two outs.
Once Burrow mishandled that ball. But Glavine did score, and now they'll walk Delgado to fill the bases for David Wright. So this is interesting considering that Garcia struck Delgado out his first 2 trips. 2 out in the inning, so I don't know. You surprised by this?
I'm not surprised by it, only because of the numbers that Delgado has against Garcia coming into this game. I would have liked to, personally, if I was pitching, I'd like to have a shot at Delgado, throwing some stuff around the strike zone, maybe some curveballs down, see if he had bited any of them, and see if he could get ahead in the count.
Well, one thing is so far this season with Delgado is he takes ball 4. He's got 7 RBI. He hasn't been hot, but you know he's gotten some very clutch hits late in the ball game that meant something. There was a difference in the games.
His numbers with runners in scoring position are very good. Charlie Manuel on his way out, and it looks like Jeff Geary's going to come on to face David Wright with the bases loaded. So Garcia's first start of the year is over. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. Switch to Verizon Fios, TV, internet, phone. It's the most advanced fiber optic network straight to your home.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Sterling Mats and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mats.
Jeff Geary, who had a meltdown inning against the Mets in the home opener at Shea a week ago Monday, takes over the pitching with the bases loaded, with the Mets already leading 3-1.
The Met fans remember Jeff Geary came in and walked Julio Franco on 4 pitches. The second and 2-0 and 3-0, both breaking pitches.
They'll face David Wright with the bases full. Mets have a run in here in the 5th and lead 3-1. Wright is 1 for 2 tonight, 1 for 7 in his career against Geary. And David takes a fastball high, 1-0.
Every time when I hit and had a reliever come in and I was the first batter with men on base, I was first ball fastball hitting, not letting him stone his first pitch. He might make a fat one.
And Geary falls behind 2-0. Geary had a big year for the Phillies last year out of the bullpen, but tell you what, he did not look good first time we saw him this year.
You know, some pitchers you look at them, they look like they're afraid to throw something in the strike zone. That's you don't want to see that ever.
Now David with a 2-0 advantage, and he takes that pitch on the outside corner. That's a good pitch by Geary. 2-1. Wright singled and scored in the second. He's now hit in 24 straight games over 2 seasons. Castro at third, Beltran at second, Delgado at first, 2 out. And Wright swings over the breaking ball. It's 2-2.
Well, a 2-1 slider right there, and a good spot, Ron.
Yeah, it broke late. I think that's how it fooled Wright. Down and away. That's usually a pitch you don't like to swing at, but that was a good pitch by Geary.
You got to tip your hat there. He misses with that. It's 3-1 with the bases loaded. You got him in big trouble. It's a gutty pitch.
2-2 to David. Struck him out with a slider. Jeff Geary comes out of the bullpen to fan David Wright and hold the Mets to just 1 run in the 5th inning. Carlos Beltran bringing a run in with an opposite field double, and the Mets now with a 3-1 lead. Gonna fly now. Although all you have to do is drop a paper in the wind and it'll fly. There's the Philadelphia Art Museum.
Did any of you guys see the latest, Rocky? Does he run up the steps again?
No.
Oh.
I missed it. I heard it was good.
I heard it was good too.
I don't need to see an old man creaking up the steps of the Philadelphia Art Museum. I can do that myself.
That's right.
Of Tom Glavine with a 3-1 lead. 69 pitches through 4 innings for Glavine, who's bidding for a career win number 293 tonight. And his nemesis, Jimmy Rollins, will lead off in the home 5th inning. Rollins has flied out and singled to center tonight. Your National League home run leader.
How about that?
Jimmy Rollins. He's got 6. A-Rod hit his 8th tonight. He leads the majors. And Glavine misses ball 1. And you see Rollins on top of a rather diminished list early this season. Offense and home runs down in the first couple of weeks. And Glavine finds the corner with a changeup, 1-1.
Well, Rollins is also leading the National League in extra base hits. He's tied for first there. He's first in slugging and first in total bases.
Another changeup for a strike. And what's most impressive, and you mentioned earlier about Keith, like Jose Reyes, Rollins is really working on upping that on-base percentage, taking more pitches than he used to. And he hits this one to left field against the wind. Alou going back, and it's over his head. Nice play off the wall by Alou, but Rollins pulls into second base with a leadoff double. And Glavine just can't keep Rollins down.
I think, watch Alou here. I think he breaks in first. I think he misjudged this. Ball's hit hard off the bat. He broke in and then back. And that was the difference right there. And I think that has a lot to do with the wind blowing in so hard from left field. And Alou has been playing a fine left field so far this year.
Well, Alou and Rollins have been able to fight that ball through that wind tonight. And now the tying run at the plate, Shane Victorino, who has doubled and grounded into a force play, 1 for 2. And Glavine misses away. Reyes keeping an eye on Rollins. And Glavine falls behind Victorino 2-0 with the big boys Utley and Howard waiting to follow.
Well, Victorino has basically one thing to do here, and he has to advance the runner. You want to drive him in. He's hitting in that second position. He's got to advance the runner to third, if not drive him in.
And Glavine, who's already walked 4 tonight, is behind Victorino 3-0.
Well, you see Philadelphia with only 1 run up there, but it's not like it's been easy for Tom Glavine these first 5 innings.
Mets have turned 2 double plays. The Phillies have left 5 on base in the first 4 innings. And he walks Victorino on 4 pitches, and that is 5 walks now given up by Glavine. 12 walks in 21 innings this season. And that is not Glavine, but you know, I don't know, Ronnie, how much of that do you simply chalk up to the cold weather?
I think it's definitely the cold weather. I was saying it before, the hitters are having problems with hitting the ball out of the ballpark, and the pitchers are having trouble throwing strikes, especially for Tommy, because he wants to throw that changeup, and it just looks like 1 out of 3 is good. And usually for him, it's at least 2 out of 3, maybe 3 out of 3 on a good day.
So now he'll face Chase Utley, whom he got ahead of, but then barely nicked with a pitch in the 3rd, and that loaded the bases for Howard, who walked to force in the only Philadelphia run. And he drags a bunt foul. And it's a little surprising.
Well, it's your 3rd hitter, And you want him to swing the bat. I think they do that on his own. And you can see the position of pretty much straight away, and properly so.
Well, it gives you an idea how much Utley has struggled against Glavine.
The only problem with that is that if he drags that, you're dragging it against one of the best fielding pitchers in baseball. If he makes the play, you can pitch around Howard and try to go against Burrell again.
Outstanding speed out there with Rollins at second and Victorino at first. Nobody out in the inning. And Glavine bounces one. He's bounced a lot of those changeups tonight. It's 1-1.
Well, that's your thought. When you're throwing changeups, you're taught to try to throw it so it bounces on home plate. Now, usually you don't do that. Usually it stays up in the strike zone more than that. But that's how you're taught, is to throw it hard and try to bounce it on the plate. Usually you don't do that.
Of all the pitches, Gary, the changeup, you do not want to throw high in the strike zone. That is the one pitch you have to get down.
1-1 to Utley. And a fastball for a strike, 1-2. His fastballs have been few and far between. Ryan Howard on deck. But the Phillies have been so patient this early season. And it's been a tough row for Glavine, who was able to work through 6 innings to beat them his first time around. 1-2 to Utley. In there for a call, strike 3. Came right back with the fastball and got him looking. A big strikeout for Glavine, his second of the night.
Well, this is a great weapon for a control pitcher. Double up on your fastball, which he did right there. Might have got the benefit of a good call on the outside corner, but still great for Tommy to throw those fastballs 2 in a row.
And he pitched him entirely different that time. The first 2 times up, a lot of change-ups. This time he doubled up on the fastball. That's just Tommy, very cagey.
So now Howard, who walked with the bases loaded for the only Philly run.
Now remember last time he got Howard, he walked him on 6. He didn't get him. He walked him on 6 straight changeups and wound up walking him with the bases loaded. That was a lone Philly run back in the 3rd.
First time up, Howard hit a comebacker to Glavine, who snared it and started a double play. He'd love another one of those. First pitch grounded down to Delgado, a foul ball.
So all of a sudden, Ronnie, 3rd time through the order, Mr. Glavine in trouble. He went to change up last time. What's he doing this time?
Well, he's trying to go after him a little more. This is a fastball that he just wants to get over for a strike. Howard rolls it over. And as you're running the cover first, Tommy, he's probably yelling, "Stay fair, stay fair."
But you can just see how Glavine mixes things up. And I think with that swing that Howard put on this, he's a young hitter. He likes to hit fastball. I don't think he's going to throw him that fastball. I think he's going to throw him changeups.
Fastball maybe in off the plate.
Yeah. Yes, I wouldn't throw it for a strike. That's for sure.
Comes with the fastball, misses the outside corner with it, and it's 1-1.
It's almost like now he's pitching with his fastball because he's got them thinking so much changeup just outside. He's got them thinking so much of the slow stuff that he's trying to surprise him with that fastball. Interesting to see if he does it 3 in a row, though. He went back to back, but 3 in a row on Howard.
Rollins and Victorino, the base runners, and he misses inside with the fastball to Howard, and it's 2-1.
That's 5 straight fastballs in a jam, and entirely different, complete reversal from the other times he's in trouble.
Pat Burrell waiting on deck. Because last time around you had Loduca behind the plate. Now you've got Castro back there.
He's already thrown 3 curveballs with Castro behind the plate.
2-1 to Howard. There's a strike with the changeup, and it's 2-2.
Boy, Glavine will have your head spinning. Good changeup on the outside corner. Just split the black. Nothing that Howard can do with that pitch.
The defending National League Most Valuable Player against the future Hall of Famer Tom Glavine. A little low, and it's 3-2.
I'm thinking a little 3-2 change up here, Ron. What do you think?
Yeah, 3-2 change down. Seems like the ones he throws away, Howard's able to lay off on. If he can throw one down and in, I think Howard would offer at it.
Glavine would give me fits.
He'd be screaming at him from the dugout if he ever got you out.
Oh, he would get me out. When I faced Tom, he didn't have the changeup. He's a fastball curveball pitcher when he first came up.
Three and two to Howard. Runners hold. Struck him out. Glavine gets Howard, who foul tips it into the mid of Castro. Back-to-back strikeouts of Utley and Howard, and now they're 2 away.
Well, you said the word, Keith, very cagey, and that's what Glavine does. He's in trouble. He goes with his fastball. They've been laying off his changeup 2 in a row, 3 in a row, down and in, and then behind in the count a little change. Another one down, and then here, throws it right by him. Howard looking for that changeup again, throws it by him and gets a break. Castro with a good hold.
So now Glavine trying to protect this 3-1 lead as 2 out and 2 on, and he'll take on Pat Burrell. Burrell blooped a single his first time up, and then with the bases loaded in the third, he hit the ball hard, but right at Valentine to end that inning. 2 on and 2 out, and Burrell lays off the changeup 1-0. Well, Glavine up to 88 pitches on the night on a cold, windy evening. Temperature right now about 45. The wind blowing in from left field at about 25 miles an hour. Makes it feel like it's below freezing. And Glavine just trying to find the wherewithal to get through this 5th inning. 1-1 to Burrell.
Well, this is fun to watch this inning because he's completely gone anti-Glavine here. He's throwing predominantly fastball since the first 2 runners have been on base.
I think you're right, Keith. It's almost like he said to himself, you know, they're not swinging that changeup down. I can't get behind any more hitters. I'm going to have to go after him and just change it up completely. A 180.
And Burrell spits on the changeup, and it's 2-1. I just think he doesn't have enough feel for that changeup. And we've seen it all the way going back to his start in Atlanta, where he just doesn't seem to be able to feel his fingers well enough to get that changeup consistently.
It's like that 180. Usually he pitches, throws his fastball to get to his changeup. Now it looks like this inning he's throwing his changeup to get to his fastball.
Burrell reaches for the change and fouls it off, and it's 2-2.
I really think, Gary, this is by design. I think that it's the second time he's gone through this order with men when he's been in trouble, and he's just completely pitched the opposite, and that's just part of his. I said it before, he's cagey little devil. That's good pitching. I love this.
2-2 to Burrell. Popped it up. Delgado and Valentine tracking it as the wind grabs it, and Delgado stays right with it to end the inning. The Phillies at first and second and nobody out. The heart of the batting order coming up, and Glavine with a couple of strikeouts and a pop-up gets it done. Well, the Philly fanatic decided to bring some people feeling no pain. I mean, you understand how cold it is out there for these guys to be out there in no shirts and no shoes.
Philly fans, true to form, booed him off the field.
Well, they booed Santa Claus in this town.
I mean, it's like they're in a pool. You look, where's Esther Williams? Look at this.
The Polar Bear Club.
Look at this. What is that all about?
Well, it is Asian Pacific night here in Philadelphia. I would have a very difficult time identifying exactly what we saw there, but it sure looked cold. Moises Alou fouls the first one off as we start the 6th inning.
Just think how I feel. I'm Asian Pacific.
Yeah, but you're cold.
I know.
And you're not out there shirtless.
I'm not out there shirtless.
Alou gave the Mets the lead with a 2-run homer in the second, and they've not been headed, so that's a more reasonable way to dress.
Yeah.
Well, that Santa garb comes in handy on the 17th of April.
Pull it out of the attic.
They might never have put it away. It was warmer than this on Christmas.
Alou drives one to deep left field. That's gone. Second of the game for Moises Alou. And the Mets now have a 4-1 lead. So Moises Alou, who had gone homerless before tonight, has his first 2 as a Met. That one a line drive right through the wind, and it's 4-1 New York.
Well, with the Mets on their way to Florida and warm weather for Moises Alou, this is a big breakout night. He's coming into the game, I say breakout night, hitting .316, but this is got to make him feel good. Hanging helicopter run.
The only guy not using batting gloves tonight, Moises Alou, with the 2 long home runs. Same kind of pitch he hit off Freddie Garcia.
You know what the difference was that time? His eyes were wide open as Sean Green drives one to the gap in left center field, and that's an extra base hit. Green with his 4th double of the year. And Jeff Geary, after getting a big strikeout of David Wright to end the 5th, gives up 2 straight extra base hits to start the 6th.
Well, this lineup is relentless. Like a changeup, Ron?
I think it was another hanging slider. Just right over the middle of the plate. Great job by Green going the other way, huh, Keith?
Yes, the ball up, belt high out over the plate, outside corner going right with it.
Joe Smith up in the Mets bullpen with Glavine on deck. Jose Valentin doubled his first time up tonight. He's 1 for 2. Mets now have 10 hits in the game and a 4-1 lead. Mets swinging the bats tonight like they were anxious to get back to it after a couple of days on the sidelines because of the weather. Well, Glavine is out in the on deck circle. He's thrown over 90 pitches in his 5 innings, so we'll see if he bats. Valentin fouls it back. If Valentin were to walk and he had first and second and nobody out, you'd certainly have Glavine back.
Nice number, Mr. Nguyen.
He's got a bat in his hand, but he also has a ski cap on, which is not, really revealing as to whether he's ready to hit. You do see guys take batting practice in ski caps. I don't think you're allowed to do that during the game. 1-1 to Valentin. Geary with the fastball, 1-2.
Oh, that was right down the pipe, and he missed it. Oh, it came right back out. Oh, he just sat there and go, how did I miss that pitch?
Slider hit down to first. And Howard makes the play for the first out, so that advances Green over to third. A reminder to vote in our SNY text poll. Text 57508 or go to sny.tv. Question: who do you think is the Mets' biggest competition in the East? Braves, Marlins, Phillies, Nationals. That's all the choices you got. And Glavine will bat with a runner at third and 1 out. So that would tell you that there was no way that he was going to leave for a pinch hitter. Joe Smith has sat down in the bullpen now. The infield comes in for Glavine. And the Mets already with a 4-1 lead. Glavine has a base hit tonight in 2 trips. Good fastball by Geary, 0-1.
This is why Tom Glavine has won 292 games, because he stays in games, because he has enough at the plate, knows that he can make contact, maybe drive the run in.
Would you conceive of a squeeze bunt?
Could possibly happen, yes.
Willie just doesn't use that play, though. I mean, this would certainly appear to be a spot where you could use it with a terrific bunter at the plate.
The one negative is that Sean Green doesn't run so well. Sean Green, once he going first to third, runs well, but station to station, he's one of those guys that needs to get going to gather speed. The third baseman, Helms, is not even paying any attention. Look how far off he is right here. There's a potential squeeze here. Don't let Sean Green get a big lead. Give a fake over to draw him back in case there is a squeeze.
But the scouting reports will tell you Willie hasn't called a squeeze in 2 seasons. And Green thought it was on, but it wasn't. And now he's hung up between third and home.
Helms running him back. Geary.
Oh, boy.
And Rollins, too many throws by the Phillies, but Rollins finally puts the tag on. Well, somebody missed a sign. Green was coming as though it were a suicide squeeze. Glavine swung and missed. And Green tagged out in the rundown for the second out.
Well, this is the improper way. Obviously, someone missed a sign. Now, the third base runner gets a verbal from the third base coach. You know, he said squeeze. So maybe Glavine missed a sign, which is highly unusual. And kids, that's not the proper way to have a rundown. The batter confirms it too. Look at this. One throw. Two throws. That's too many.
2-5-1-6 if you're scoring.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. In there for a call, strike 3.
I protest.
Glavine down looking. You just can't fit that many numbers on your scorecard. So the inning is over. The Mets had a run on Moises Alou's second home run of the game, but Willie either did or didn't call a squeeze, and the Phillies had no idea how many out there were. They were ready to pitch to another batter. But there are 3 out. Trust me, Jeff. You can leave now. Go to the dugout. Sit down. Take a drink. Water. Moises Alou driving one through the wind for the second time tonight. And the Mets with a 3-run lead. Tomorrow, the Mets visit Florida, where they square off against the Marlins on the Kia Wednesday game of the week. Mets-Marlins coverage begins tomorrow at 6:30, only on Sportsnet, New York. Tom Glavine now with a 3-run lead as he takes the mound for the bottom of the 6th, but the question still remains, who missed the sign on the squeeze play? Was it Glavine? Was it Green? Or was it the communication between manager and coach? Is that a possibility?
It's like a whodunit.
Yeah.
Well, someone thought the sign was on. That's Sean Green. And he's given a verbal into his ear. Squeeze is on.
1-1 to Wes Helms.
And the hitter, always there's a signal with the bat with your hands. There's always something, whether you tap home plate.
Or you touch your cap.
Or you raise your bat above on the barrel, on the pine tar as a confirmation signal.
And Helms lines a base hit into left field. And so for the second straight inning, the Phillies have the leadoff man on. Time for a baseball night in New York update. Let's go to our SNY studios and Matt Yellow.
All right, thanks a lot, Gary. In the Bronx tonight, Alex Rodriguez continues to fly. Home run number 8 on the season. He has 21 RBIs this year. The Yanks, behind Chase Wright in his major league debut, lead the Tribe 8-3. Gary.
Yeah, it's all very well and good that A-Rod has a home run, but did he mention Doug Mitkevich has a home run tonight? Here's Aaron Rowan. Rowan ripped one his last time up, a line drive caught by David Wright. He's 0 for 2. Rick Peterson calling to the bullpen as Glavine moves toward the 100-pitch plateau, gets ahead of Rowan 0-1.
And you know what's funny about, A-Rod's hot start? My goodness, what a start. It means nothing. A-Rod will be defined in postseason again.
Joe Smith up again in the Mets bullpen.
As far as his play in New York.
Line drive, base hit. And the Phillies have the first 2 men aboard in the 6th inning. And so the Phillies will get the tying run to the plate in a 4-1 game. As Glavine gives up back-to-back hits. And they were both hit hard.
It always seems, Ron, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Glavine hits a bump on the road in the 6th inning.
I think that, you have pitch counts where you want a guy to go 105 or 110, 115, whatever it is for Tom Glavine. But you kind of have to throw that out the window on a night like this. You really have to play it more by feel when he's done or not.
And his pitch count was certainly higher over the first 5 innings than what he's accustomed to, with 5 walks tonight. We see 97 pitches now. Here's Carlos Ruiz, the 8-hitter, and he takes a strike. You see the 5 walks. 12 walks for Glavine now in 22 innings this year. Jason Worth has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher, Jeff Geary. And Ruiz fists one foul when it's 0-2. Pedro Feliciano joining Joe Smith in the Mets bullpen with the Philly fans just above them.
That is Francisco Rosario in the Phillies bullpen. On 0-2, Ruiz back past the mound. Glavine lets it go to Valentin. To Reyes, spin around move for the double play. The Mets' third of the night. Glavine judiciously letting the ball go by him, and the Mets turn the 4-6-3.
Well, you see right here, not so much double play depth. Second baseman way over there. A long way for Valentin to go to get to this ball. Good range, not a good slide by Rowan, because you've got Reyes in a position where he's vulnerable. But look at Reyes just spin out away. Beautiful pivot there. And forgive me, I'm being too harsh on Rowan. That is just a beautiful play by Reyes.
Yes. He could be in the American Ballet Company, couldn't he?
That's amazing. Last game, part of the reason that Tom Glavine was able to win the game was his ability with the bat to get bunts down. Today, it's been his defense.
Jason Worth, the former Dodger, will pinch hit with a runner at 3rd and 2 out, and he takes the changeup for ball 1. Worth, who lost last season to injury. When he first came up with the Dodgers in 03, it looked like he had a chance to be a real star, but injuries have curtailed his last few seasons. And he takes a strike, 1-1. Jason Worth, the nephew of Dick Schofield and grandson of the elder Dick Schofield, who played back in the 60s.
And he lines one to left. Alou coming in hard, slides, and he made the catch. Moises Alou with a terrific play, and the inning is over. It's been a big night for Alou with the bat with 2 home runs, and now he saves a run with his glove. Tom Glavine, 103 pitches, 6 innings on a cold night. And he's got a 4-1 lead now.
Well, I think they're talking to him about the squeeze situation. Obviously, if they're talking both Sandy Alomar and Willie Randolph, it seems like maybe it's Tommy who missed a sign.
And it's something that, well, he's a perfectionist. It's something you want to correct. You don't want any miscommunication down the road. It may cost you an important game down the road in July, August, or September.
Francisco Rosario takes over the pitching for the Phillies.
Rosario had some time last year, only 17 games with Toronto last year. Just came to the Phillies for this season.
Picked up in a cash deal on the 5th of April after the season began. Had some back problems last year that limited his season, and Jose Reyes takes ball 1. Reyes tonight 1 for 3. He's also stolen a base. He's made a couple of terrific defensive plays, including that 360 in the middle of that double play. Feliciano getting the poor return throw. Now, I don't know if that was a Dave Raccanello heave or whether that was somebody else.
It's only 60 feet, Dave. Come on now.
If it's Raccanelli, that's a fine.
Especially catching that on TV. There's a strike to Reyes, 1-1.
What a great arm Rosario has. He's one of those projects where you're trying to get him to throw his breaking ball for strikes, but 98 on the first fastball, 97 on the second.
Reyes slaps one foul, and it's 2-2. And that one registered on our gun at 99. Ramon Castro hitting second in the order, came in when Loduca got hurt. He's on deck. And Reyes fouls that one off.
Well, there you see it right there. That's the difference. It's not a very good breaking ball, and it's just flat. And no matter how hard you throw, you got to have something else running.
Yeah.
'26-year-old Francisco Rosario. And Reyes lines a base hit to left center. Rowan has to hurry if he wants to hold to one base, and he does. So Reyes with his second hit of the night, and it comes leading off in the 7th inning.
Well, again, Jose Reyes using the whole field. Look at that level swing. He has a tendency to pull left-handed.
over the years as we've seen him. This hot start he's got this year, Gary. He has hit the ball. He's sprayed the ball all over the place.
So here's Ramon Castro. We'll see what he's asked to do here, and he's going to get a face-to-face with Sandy Alou.
No more signs. Sure. No more signs.
It's all verbal from here on in. Of course, when you have those face-to-faces, you have to remember
right.
all the way on the walk back to home plate, right?
Some people have problems with that.
Castro had a base hit and is only at bat in the 5th. Now, could that chat between Castro and Alomar have been as much about allowing Reyes the chance to run as it was about, you know, any kind of bunt or hit and run play?
Well, I think it absolutely could, because I don't think Ramon's going to bunt in this situation. You have Reyes who can steal a base for you.
Castro first pitch swinging because, you know, Castro's not used to hitting behind Reyes.
Only the shadow knows.
Castro's used
to
the
Lamont Cranston.
That's right.
Reyes has 1 steal tonight, 7 for the year. That leads the National League. 64 last year. Slider misses 1-1 to Castro. Well, Ramon has certainly been ready to step in. Had a home run his first at bat this year. Came off the bench today. Got a base hit his first time up. Beltran waiting on deck. Mets now have 11 hits in the game. Rosario, the 3rd Phillies pitcher of the game. Freddie Garcia went the first 4 2/3 in his first start for the Phils. Allowed 3 runs, 8 hits. Jeff Geary, an inning and a 1/3, gave up Alou's second home run. And Reyes almost got himself picked off. He's already been picked off once tonight.
He's got a big lead. He gets there. Close.
Well, Tom Glavine is done after 6 innings, and Tom is standing by with our Kevin Burkhardt.
Starting to defrost as well. Tom, how much of a factor is the cold, especially with you? You don't walk guys, but you've obviously the last 3 starts have been in very cold weather.
It's hard. I mean, that's all I can tell you is it's kind of a battle of survival. I mean, I don't have much feel on my pitches. When I do, it comes and goes. So, you know, my mindset is just try and survive and try and treat every pitch like it's 0-2 and I'm trying to make a nasty pitch. And if I don't, then try again on the next one. So, you know, it's really hard in terms of trying to work the count or trying to work sides of the plate and stuff like that. It's just you're kind of at the mercy of how the ball comes out of your hand, and it comes out real inconsistent.
Does it affect the changeup more than the fastball?
It's both, really. You know, I mean, like tonight with that wind, you know, it was hard for me to get that good sink down and away to the righties on my changeup because the wind was kind of blowing it across the plate. And, you know, my sinker, 2-seamer, that one gets hard to hold on to in general. So I try and go a few more 4-seamers and get a little bit better feel on that one. But, you know, that's not as much of a ground ball pitch for me. So it's just, like I said, it's the kind of thing that you throw out what the count is and what your ball strike ratio is and all that stuff and really just go into the survival mode and try and make a pitch.
How about your sequences in the 3rd inning when you're talking about the big bats of Utley and Howard? 3rd inning looks like you worked a lot of changeups in, but then you changed in the 5th inning and you struck them both out. It looked like you really heavy fastball diet there.
Well, that's kind of part of the game within the game, you know. I mean, the first 2 times up, you know, especially Chase, I pitched him in a lot, and with Ryan, it's kind of in and out and just trying to change speeds all the time. And you know, I walked him, I got him out on a changeup the first time, and the second time I walked him on a changeup. So, you know, 3rd time through, you try and mix it up a little bit and kind of go against the pattern, and you know, certainly worked against those 2 guys, which were big outs at that point in the game.
How much looking forward to you or pitching in a warm weather game, maybe your next start?
Well, hopefully Sunday at Shea it's going to be a little bit warmer. So I don't know. At this point in time, I'll take 40 degrees at this point in time and see how that feels.
Tom, thanks, and good job tonight.
All right, thank you,
guys.
All right, thanks very much, Kevin, and thanks, Tom, for participating after coming out of the game and thawing only briefly. And that's got to be tough for any touch and feel pitcher in this weather, and yet look what he accomplished tonight.
Well, he's a warrior, and he said it tonight is just a matter of survival. It's not about, he loves to set up hitters, sequence pitches. Not allowed to do that tonight in this weather.
First and third and nobody out for Beltran, and he takes on the inside corner a strike from Rosario. So Reyes stealing second despite a pitch out, and then taking third on a ball 4 wild pitch to Castro. And so the Mets have runners at the corners and nobody out.
And I think we're seeing here,
Beltran grounds one to second. Could be a double play. Utley to Rollins. Relay not in time as Reyes comes home, and it's 5-1 New York. So the Phillies were conceding a run to try to turn 2, but they couldn't do that. And Beltran has his second RBI of the night, his 12th of the year.
well, this is, on most people, a tailor-made double play. And it's not with Beltran running. And that's a difference of an RBI right there instead of a double play and no ribeye steak. Reyes, of course, is going to walk home. And I think, Gary, we're seeing the glaring weakness here of this Philly ball club. And that is their bullpen is they got to make some changes.
There's Delgado, who's 0 for 2 in a walk, and he swings over that pitch, 0-1. Well, you know, look who they're throwing out here. I mean, they brought in Jeff Geary when Garcia left in the 5th, and now they're going to a guy who they got basically for a bag of balls a couple of weeks ago, and throwing him right into the fire against a division rival in a game that was still manageable at 4-1.
Absolutely, and you have Ryan Matson out there. You have Lieber out there. The veteran Alfonseca.
Alfonseca is their setup guy at this point, and you know, Tom Gordon their closer. Beyond that, they don't really have anybody they can rely on right now, and it's been tough for Charlie Manuel to patch it together.
It's almost like you're throwing darts, and you just hope one hits the target.
And there's a situation here, too, where you've got Beltran, who you want in that situation to turn him around on the right side. You would have got one left-hander in the bullpen.
It's Matt Smith. Delgado pokes one foul. And, you know, Jimmy Rollins made his comments about the Phillies being the team to beat after they got Garcia, and arguably they do have the best starting rotation in the division. But this game is not won and lost anymore by starting pitchers. It's increasingly, the way the game is played, it's won and lost in the bullpen.
You're absolutely right.
Beltran back to the bag.
And I think the other thing that the Phillies are very short of is their defense. I think their defense, they have some, Utley's a good defensive player, Rollins a good defensive player, but we've already seen they weren't able to turn a double play. Burrell wasn't able to get the ball down the line.
And you can see the wind just blowing against the jersey of Rosario.
Leans Delgado back, and it's 1-2. Well, the Mets now have a 5-1 lead as they bat in the 7th. The Phillies are headed for Washington after the game, where it's probably not going to be a whole lot warmer tomorrow. The Mets, on the other hand, get a break from the cold as they head to Miami. And their first meeting of the year with the Marlins tomorrow night, and a date with Dontrell Willis, who will be looking to make some history tomorrow night. Willis 3-0 this year, 12-1 career in April, one shy of the mark for winning percentage in April set by Babe Ruth before he applied his trade as a hitter instead of a pitcher.
And that's why people say who was the greatest ball player ever, and they say Babe Ruth because Babe Ruth pitched and he hit so good they had to change him.
It's not only that he pitched. I mean, you know, he has records. Not only that record, but some World Series records.
14 shutout innings in the World Series game. He was a phenomenal pitcher, but dominated the game as nobody has ever dominated the game with his bat. You know, when you look at guys and years that they have, as Ruiz goes out to talk to Rosario, you look at not only their raw numbers, but how they do compared to the league. And, you know, Greg Maddux had some years where he would post an ERA that was 2 runs per game better than the league average, or you know, a run per game better than anybody else in the league. And that's how you measure Ruth, because, you know, when he was hitting 50 home runs, everybody else was hitting 12.
Yes.
Well, teams wouldn't hit 50 home runs as a team.
And when he was young and in shape, he could run.
There goes Beltran, and Delgado fouls it off. That hurts. A belly flop into second by Beltran.
I don't know, Rosario might be getting paid by the hour. Look how much time he spends out there.
I'm a little bit surprised that he was rushed in this game here, put in this game. It's, you know, it's a long season. And, you know, you read the papers today in the Inquirer here in Philadelphia. There, you think that there was global warming on a mass scale here in Philly, you know, with this Philly team.
Yeah.
But it's a long way to go. But certainly at 3-8, you want to try to get it going.
And Rosario continuing to work on Beltran. Carlos needs some time for repairs.
This is the games you love on getaway day right here. You love to hate.
Hey, you were sleeping late tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, I understand. I'm here. But the player, I'm talking about the player, you're out there freezing. It's like, throw strikes, come on.
I'm happy about one thing as Beltran takes off and Ruiz can't catch it. And let's see, now Beltran was not even thinking about going to third. So the second stolen base of the inning and the fourth of the game for the Mets. And now Beltran in scoring position with 1 out.
Well, he's just a straight steal, not looking. Oh, boy, he could have got hurt.
It's been an ugly triple around the bases for Beltran so far.
Well, we got the good jump here, head down. He was, I guess he saw Rollins come in and realized that it was something went on.
Is there ever any courtesy by the opposing team that they'll say up, up, up while you're running in that situation? Some will.
You're not supposed to.
Not supposed to, though.
That's a gentleman. It's not a gentleman's game, is it?
Second of the game for Beltran, his third of the year. I was just about to say, I'm very thankful for one thing. With the wind blowing in, you can't doze off on us.
I never dove.
Right at the shortstop Rollins.
I beg you.
Beltran holds as Delgado is thrown out 2 away.
Read your promo.
Would you like to read it?
Sure. All right. This year, oh, it's a big one. This year, when you can't be home to watch your Mets on SNY or CW11, check out MLB.TV. You can log on to the internet to watch every out-of-market Mets game of the season live. Catch those missed on demand or Mets on demand, or listen to every radio broadcast live. Sign up today for MLB.TV and unparalleled live baseball experience. For more details, visit Mets.com. The baseball is always on. My goodness, what is this?
Next time I'll give you the short ones.
It's a novella.
It's a novella. 1-0 to Wright, who's 1 for 3 on the night. Beltran at second and 2 down. And the slider popped up. Utley retreating, Victorino in. And that retires the side. So Rosario's canto is over. Feliciano ready to enter the fray. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Mets now with a 5-1 lead.
Listen, one of the things you want to do if you want to pitch, you got to learn how to field your position. See Freddie Garcia on the left. When he delivers the pitch, he comes flying off that mound towards first base. All you can see really is his right hip as Glavine's hit goes, almost hits him in the shoulder. But when you're a good fielding pitcher, you get in fielding position. Glavine with the delivery. He's ready with his glove down by his side. And one hopper goes right in it because he's ready to field. Crow hop, throw to second for the double play.
Glavine done after 6 innings, and Pedro Feliciano taking over.
Well, Feliciano has been outstanding this season. Again, he suffered with some walks in his last outing, but a lot of that, I guess, it is coming from this cold weather. But facing the top of the order, real test for Pedro Feliciano.
And the Mets bullpen has been absolutely solid, and you know, going without Sanchez and going without Moda as Matt Smith gets up in the bullpen for the Phils, and with Aaron Heilman maybe a little limited by his elbow, the Mets nonetheless have been splendid out of the bullpen as Jimmy Rollins takes a strike.
And you know, you can't count on or pencil in that you're going to bring up a rookie, Joe Smith. He's going to be only perfect. I mean, not give up any runs in his first 7 outings. I mean, those kind of things that the Mets have gotten out of that bullpen.
Aaron Seeley's done a nice job as the long man. They've spotted Ambiorix Burgos in the early season, although he gave up the home run to Ryan Howard. Mets were able to bounce back and win that game. Now Bounce foul. Really, the only game that the bullpen has lost was the one Heilman gave up the 2 runs in Atlanta that turned a 2-1 lead into a 3-2 loss. And since then, the bullpen has not allowed a run.
Well, the only blemish has been that Heilman game and also the Burgos.
Right.
But you know what's great about Burgos? If he did that when he was in Kansas City, that's a loss. But he did it, and his teammates picked him up, and so he came through that, I think, with a step forward.
2-2 to Rollins. That pitch, I think, if Castro caught it, might have been a strike. No,
that was right in the middle of the strike zone. Good curveball.
Well, Rollins staying hot there, 2 for 3, and the Mets bullpen, you know, 34 2/3 innings. You just look at Feliciano's numbers. ERA of 1.82.
Rollins pops it up, and Delgado makes the call and makes the catch, 1 away.
And they're currently the bullpen, the Met bullpen, on a scoreless streak of 12 and now 13 innings. Coming into today's game, 12 2/3. Now 13.
That's since the Howard home run.
Can't ask for more than that.
But you know, even in that Burgos outing where he gave up the home run to Howard, there was a lot of good that came out of that particular inning.
Well, he struck out Utley before the Howard home run in an at-bat that Utley fought Burgos in.
Victorino takes wide.
I think you just got to give the bullpen a lot of credit. You sit down there for tonight, 2 hours plus, and then have to come in the game and throw strikes and get people out.
There's Burgos. And of course, in this particular bullpen, you sit down there with the fans raining abuse on you from up above. There's where they sit, and there are the fans right above them.
Well, they're under cover right there. They're in the Fura bunker.
2-0 to Victorino. But, you know, the minute they come out onto that mound to warm up, the vitriol begins. And nobody gets it more than Billy Wagner. There's a strike, 2-1.
It's kind of bad irony, too, because it was Billy Wagner who's the one that decided when he was here in Philadelphia. He said, hey, we can't have our relievers up near the fans. We need to have the Philadelphia bullpen down at the bottom. They originally had it up top.
There's a strike, and it's 2-2. You know, you reap what you sow.
Yes.
I think Billy likes playing with the fans here.
He doesn't mind the attention.
And Victorino goes around, and he is just befuddled by Feliciano. 2 out.
Well, good breaking pitch here. Backdoor. You can see that Victorino can't hold up his swing. Good pitch. 2-2 down and in to Victorino.
So 2 out and nobody on as Feliciano continues to shine, and now will take on Chase Utley. Utley has walked, been hit by a pitch, and then after Glavine allowed the first 2 to get aboard in the 5th, he started a terrific run, striking out Utley, striking out Howard, and getting Burrell to pop up. This one hit hard, but Valentine is equal to the challenge, and Feliciano with a 1-2-3 inning. So Utley denied by Valentine, and the Mets continue to play outstanding defense on a cold night. Alou going for his 3rd home run. Moises Alou leads off the 8th inning. Time for our Panasonic Plasma replay. Panasonic for the speed of sports, and Alou did something it didn't look like anybody would do tonight with a 25-mile-an-hour wind blowing in from the left, and that's hit a home run to left. And he not only did it once, he did it twice. His first 2 home runs as a Met, and it has helped the Mets to a 5-1 lead. Alou has driven in 3 of the 5 runs with those 2 bombs, and he'll come to the plate in search of a 3rd home run. You know, last week Carlos Lee hit 3 home runs for the Astros here at Citizens Bank Park. It was the 5th 3 home run game in this park since it opened in 2004. 5 of them, including the one by Jose Reyes last year. Wow. No other park has yielded more than 2 3 home run games in that span of time.
Well, what does that tell you about this ballpark?
Band box. Matt Smith, the new pitcher, and Alou takes a strike.
Well, Matt Smith was originally with the Yankees, had a cup of coffee with the Yankees last year and the Phillies. Came over in the Bobby Abreu trade. Bobby Abreu and the late Corey Lytle, of course.
Alou lays off, and it's 1-1.
Feels like snow. Feels like it's going to snow. And that's how cold it is.
It might. Alou has had 1 3-home run game in his career. As Smith continues to work him inside. He had 3 on July 4th in 2003 for the Cubs at Wrigley against the Cardinals. Now has 321 home runs for his career. But you don't really think of Alou as a home run hitter per se, do you? Think of him more as an RBI guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, he has over 300 home runs. But yeah, you think of him in the same vein of in the 70s as a Tony Perez. He's the kind of guy you don't want to face. So ducks on the pond, as they say.
Jeff Kent, right?
Yeah, Jeff Kent.
Same kind of guy. On 3-1, Alou with a mighty cut, but he can't catch up. 3-2.
Well, he got beat big time in there. Whoa, threw it by him.
Matt Smith, a hard throwing lefty. 3-2 to Alou, leading off the 8th. Grounds that one foul. Into the hooded and jacketed and ski-capped Mets dugout. Stay warm, boys. Like Belfry thinking it wasn't this cold at Wichita State.
Doesn't stop him from chewing that gum, though, even with the hood on.
I think he was chewing the ski mat.
Oh, was he?
It gets cold in Wichita.
And Alou draws the walk, leading off in the 8th inning. That's the 4th walk issued by Phillies pitching tonight. 3rd straight inning, the Mets have had the leadoff man on, and now Sean Green. He doubled to left center his last time up. 1 for 3 on the night. Sean got to 3rd, but then got tagged out on a missed sign on a blown squeeze play. By the way, the Nationals are staging a rally, and they have pulled within a run of the Braves 5-4 in the 8th. The Mets, with a win and a Braves loss, could take over first place tonight, which on the 17th of April doesn't mean a whole lot. And that one misses outside. 2-0. You know who I give a lot of credit to? The folks in this ballpark.
Yeah.
The fans. I mean, it was a decent crowd tonight. And, you know, the Phillies are not playing well. And the vast majority of the fans here in the 8th inning, with the Phillies getting thumped again, are still here.
Well, we thought earlier there would be no one here, but the weather was so inclement.
Met fans are enjoying it, of course. 3-1 now to Green.
But they cannot like what they've seen tonight. The Phillies have looked like a team that doesn't want to be out there as the game progressed.
The Phillies have lost 4 of their first 5 home games, and trailing tonight. 3-1 to Sean Green. Smith throws that by him, and it's 3-2. Why wouldn't you just go home?
No.
If you're that uncomfortable. Somebody's a diehard.
That's right.
Someone under that blanket really loves the game. On 3-2, Green lays off, and he walked him. Back-to-back walks issued by Matt Smith, and the Mets have the first 2 men on in the 8th. Hey, if you voted in the SNY text poll, here's your answer. The biggest Mets competition, 73% say it's the former perennial champs.
You knew that was coming, right?
I want to know the 7% who voted for the Nationals. I'd like to just have a conversation with those folks.
The New York area National fans. That's what that is.
Yes. So here's Valentine with 2 men on. We'll see how the Mets play it with Damian Easley out on deck to pinch hit. See if Valentine's bunting, batting from his weaker side. Phillies are not playing for the bunt. And he's not bunting. Instead, he hits it well to left center. Rowan going back. Rowan kick.
get it. It's up against the wall. Alou scores. Green gets to third and stops there. Second double of the night for Valentine. It drives in a run, and it's 6-1 New York. Well, we've seen Rowan make some great catches going back near the wall, but not this time.
Watch Rowan here. He makes a run like this and then has to go like that. Watch him. He misplayed this ball. I don't think he thought it was going that far. See? Now he has to kind of go straight like a long bomb on a wide receiver. He misplayed it.
I have to wonder what the winds are doing out there. I mean, the way the flags are blowing, it looks like it's coming straight in, but you have to wonder whether there's some pockets out there.
Yes.
Well, I think there's some pockets, but also we've mentioned that Rowan plays very shallow. When you play very shallow like that, they don't leave a lot of room to make any mistakes.
So here's Damian Easley, second and third, still nobody out. The Mets now with a 6-1 lead, and the Phillies bring the infield in. Easley looking for a sign and now steps out.
Well, this has gotten ugly.
Easley looking for his first hit as a Met. 0 for 4 to start the season. 37-year-old backup infielder. Takes the first pitch for a strike.
You just can't come in as a. There's some Mets fans that are happy, but they're muy frio.
That face paint keep you warm at all, you think? Cool. 1-1 to Easley. Green the runner at third, Valentine at second, still nobody out. Mets now have 12 hits in the game, and Valentine with a pair of doubles. Looks like his bat is going now. And Smith just not throwing many strikes. 2-1. And the Phillies bullpen has just looked awful tonight. Geary, Rosario, and now Smith.
Can't come in and walk two people.
There's a strike, 2-2. Does the wind affect you as a pitcher? I mean, I'm looking at Smith out there with his jersey getting blown around.
Well, Tommy Glavine told you, it's just a matter of survival. At some point, Keith, you said that the Phillies don't look like they want to be out there anymore with the cold weather. At some point, you just, I mean, you're out there. The wind is going to affect you a little bit, but it's affecting everyone. And maybe you have to throw the ball down the middle first pitch. Get ahead with a strike.
Easily a slow ground ball. The runners hold. And Helms throws him out, one away.
Well, Ronnie, you said that you like to pitch in San Francisco.
I didn't mind the wind, and the reason I said because it put a lot of movement on your ball, and secondly, the hitters don't want to hit in this weather. They don't. It's hard out there. You get one in on the hands.
Reyes is going to be walked intentionally as Joe Smith gets up in the Mets bullpen. You got Castro on deck, so makes perfect sense here to set up the double play. Problem is, Smith has had trouble throwing strikes. So this is going to be the third walk of the inning issued by Matt Smith. And Castro will come up with the bases full. Reyes has already singled twice, stolen a couple of bases, scored a run, made a couple of terrific defensive plays. In other words, he's had a normal Jose Reyes kind of a game. Time for our SNY Ask the Booth. Justin wants to know, do you think Reyes will hit 30 homers, 30 doubles, and 30 triples
Justin,
this season?
Justin, if he has 30 triples, then I'm the future king of England.
Your Majesty.
Well,
30 triples would be. That's tough.
But you know what he did say in that thing though. He has the ability to have 90 extra bases. I really believe that.
Yes.
Ryan Madsen coming out of the bullpen for the Phils to face Castro with the bases loaded. The Mets with a run home here in the 8th, lead at 6-1.
New Elite liquid gels can make it better.
My neck has been getting really painful.
With a sore back, it's hard to paddle.
My knee is where it hurts.
Now for the first time, liquid speed meets Aleve strength. In new Aleve liquid gels, all-day relief for painful joints, backs, and muscles.
But he's nice and happy again. It's nice and loose.
I didn't even think about the pain.
I can focus on that rock.
Where does it hurt? Aleve can make it better liquid fast.
I try to set everything I do in what I would like to have in my life, how I would like to be treated when I go someplace. We try to set all our appointments on the customer's schedule. I would rather wait an hour and have everything I need. Just give me a telephone, let me have an internet service, let me have something to eat. I can do what I need to do in the service center. We have a logo in our service departments, and it's just meant for the people that work for us. When you think something's more important than a customer, think again.
Wow. Ryan Madsen coming out of the bullpen for the Phils.
Sorry.
What are we apologizing for?
Oh, I thought my mic was hot. I should not have said that with a hot mic.
I didn't even hear you. Toyota out of town scoreboard. Padres won it in the 14th on a Jeff Blum RBI double. Pirates beat the Cardinals this afternoon. Braves and Nationals play the bottom of the 8th. And the Reds leading the Brewers in the 8th. Reds off to a good start at 7-6. 4 RBIs tonight for Carlos Lee, and the Astros lead the Marlins. Mets will be heading to Florida, where they will meet the Marlins tomorrow night. And after getting shutout pitching from Barry Zito last night, the Giants leading the Rockies. And here's Ryan Madsen.
Well, Ryan Madsen, who has the high ERA of 7.71, and the reason he's been victimized, only 7 innings pitched this year, 6 hits, 3 home runs.
Castro up with the bases loaded and 1 out. And he takes a strike from Madsen with the fastball.
This is the kind of game right here, Ron Gare. I think if I'm Charlie Manuel, the way this team played at home, you got to chew them out.
Yeah.
You got to chew them out.
You're flipping over a spread after the game.
Well, I don't know if it's flipping over a spread, but you know, if you guys don't want to come here and put a professional effort in, don't know how many outs there are.
Green, Valentin, and Reyes, the base runners. And Castro takes the changeup high. It's 1-1.
Not backing up throws.
The whole shebang, the rundown play, pitchers coming in walks. You know, I think managers are kind of afraid to chew out today's players, and Phillies need it.
Well, you remember last year, early in the season, with the Tigers not playing well, Jimmy Leland did exactly that and just reamed his team, and it seemed to be the turning point in their season.
He almost said to his team, say, listen, I don't mind losing, but we're not losing like that, not on my watch. He told that team, that young team, in fact, that those days of not half-stepping it, playing that way, were not going to be under his watch.
Castro up for the 3rd time. He singled and walked in his 2 trips, and he swings through that fastball, and it's 2-2.
And
well, good fastball here by Madsen. I guess that's the frustrating part if you were a Philly fan. Everyone they bring in throws 96. Madsen's got 4 pitches, a hook, slider, and a change, and they still struggle.
Well, when Madsen first started out 3 years ago, he was almost unhittable.
Castro lines a base hit to center field. Green comes in to score. Valentin had stopped, but then Rowan bobbles it, so he'll score. Now Reyes is hung up, and Rollins will tag him out for the 2nd out. 2-run score on the play to make it 8-1 New York, and Ramon Castro, coming on for the injured Paul LaDuca, is 2 for 2 and a walk.
Well, it's nice hitting up the middle here. Watch Jose at the bottom of your screen. He's a bobble here, so he's thinking about going to 3rd. And he wasn't going to get back. I don't mind a mistake like that from Jose Reyes. But his mistake was that he slowed down going to 2nd base. Usually he takes everything a hard turn. If he'd have been busting, he'd have gone to 3rd base.
Beltran takes a strike. I have not heard whether they charged an error on Rowan, because that 2nd run was not going to score if Rowan didn't bobble that ball. Valentin was stopping at 3rd base. It's been a tough inning for Rowan. Ball hit over his head, and then that bobble. 1-1 to Beltran. Let's go to Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Guys, as you know, the reason Ramon Castro in the game because Paul LaDuca hit his hand while receiving Tom Glavine earlier in the game. Now, the digit of concern, the right index finger. Preliminary x-rays negative. However, he will be examined one more time by another doctor before he leaves the ballpark today. So that will be an important one. Back to you guys.
Yeah, just the fact that LaDuca took himself out of the game, you know he had to be in a ton of pain. Beltran's already driven in 2 runs tonight. Guess they're going to give Castro 2 RBIs because they have not posted an error against Rowan. And that changeup misses 2-2.
It's kind of interesting that Sandy Alomar was going to hold up Valentin because from the last series, watching Rowan throw, doesn't have the greatest arm in center field.
Might it have had something to do with the score of the game? Beltran grounds it slowly. Utley will field it and just gets Beltran at first to end the inning. This time the Phillies know it's the 3rd out, but the Mets get 3 runs before the 3rd out. 8-1 New York. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD, presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Stay tuned for Nissan postgame live after the last out, presented in high definition by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD. Do you see in HD?
Well, you know, watch on this hit by Castro. Watch Sandy Alomar, senior, third base coach. Watch him, what he's going to do with Jose Valentin. It's hit sharply up the middle. Sandy holds him, but once he sees the bobble, he changes his mind. Good job by Valentin, able to get going again, and Reyes just a little mental mistake.
Valentin with a couple of doubles tonight. His bat now appears to be going. That's with the 8-1 lead, and Joe Smith will take over the pitching.
Well, Smith has not given up a run so far this year. And what you see in spring training with a lot of young pitchers doesn't always translate to the big stage. Certainly has with Joe Smith.
Andy Chavez takes over in left field for Moises Alou, who had a huge night, couple of home runs and a very nice catch to end the 6th inning. Ryan Howard comes up with the Phillies down 8-1 as we start the bottom of the 8th. Howard has driven in the only run tonight for the Phillies with a bases loaded walk, and he launches one to center field. Beltran back right near the wall, and it's off the base of the fence. And Howard into second base with a 400-foot double. So Joe Smith greeted rudely. We'll check in with the studio. Baseball night in New York with Matt Yaloff.
Yeah, Gary, you guys were talking about Carlos Lee with 3 home runs in Philly last week. Well, here's one off of Jorge Julio, his 5th of the year. Right now, it's the Astros on top of the Marlins, 6-1 in the 7th inning.
All right, Matt.
Watch Beltran here. And you were talking earlier, Gary, about Rowan misplay of that ball in the gap in left center field. This is a Golden Glove center fielder. Look, he misplayed this ball totally. That wind is really playing havoc with the ball out there in the outfield.
I think, you know, that with that wind blowing in from left, you've got that huge scoreboard out in left field, and I think where the scoreboard ends, the wind changes. Pat Burrell takes the breaking ball wide from Smith, and it's 1-1. See that scoreboard, when you get into left center past the scoreboard, I think the wind is different over there.
Yes. Well, what happens now with the new ballparks, too, the old parks when we played, Ronnie, were all Coliseums.
That's right.
Now they're open air like Shea. So you have the wind factor. The wind is a factor here in all the new parks.
2-1 to Burrell. That wind just whipping around the ballpark. And this is a ballpark where generally the dominant wind blows out to left field, not in. So this is a little different. 2-2 to Burrell.
Well, good sinker down on a 2-1 pitch from Smith, and it was away enough. Burrell likes that ball middle to plate in.
And the slider in there for a call, 3rd strike. A lot of right-hand hitters are going to be shaking their heads first time they see Joe Smith.
That slider he throws just locks their hip. Watch. He thinks that ball's going to be inside.
Good night.
The problem with that, the problem for hitters with that slider is that you can see that Joe Smith has that cherubic looking face, but he's like El Diablo to these hitters. When he throws that ball inside, it just starts right at their hip. They think it's going to run in and straight back over the plate for a strike.
There's Wes Helms with 1 out. Helms 1 for 3 on the night. You know what it strikes me for the Phillies, who are in danger of falling to 3-9 tonight? This is the kind of game, in the kind of stretch, that gets managers fired.
Yes. And that's why I think it's also imperative for Charlie Manuel to close the clubhouse doors to the press for around 15 minutes after this Wago.
Well, we saw it at Shea. If I was the owner and when I saw Charlie Manuel sitting on the bench for that extra 10 or 15 minutes, if I was an owner, would be very disappointed to see that.
On 0-2, Helms just gets a piece of that slider. And, you know, that's not to advocate for Charlie being fired. That's not the point. But the point is that, you know, you have great expectations for a team, which certainly, you know, we're here in Philadelphia going into the season. And yeah, it's only a 12-game stretch, and it's been bad weather and everything else. But you hate to see your team play like they don't want to be there.
And the Phillies have tonight. As the game progressed and the Mets kind of put the old claw right on their throat and stepped on them, the Phillies have kind of just folded their tent and laid down.
1-2 to Helms. Charlie Manuel was a revered hitting coach in Cleveland, then managed the Indians. Getting his second chance as skipper in Philadelphia. 2-2 to Helms.
You know, let's not forget, he was brought here because they wanted a softer, kind of gentler regime after Larry Bowa. That was supposed to be the answer. Bowa was not the answer, or so they said. And Charlie was supposed to be the answer, and that has not been the answer either yet.
You know what they say, it's easier to change the manager than change the players. 3-2 now to Helms. And, you know, I mean, Billy Wagner certainly had his thoughts about the Phillies and their demeanor when he was here, and he expressed himself and didn't win him many friends in that clubhouse. But it's something that has been oft expressed about this team over the last 3 or 4 years. Up the middle, Valentine to his right. Nice backhand pickup, and he throws out Helms for the second out. Boy, Valentine continues to shine with the glove.
Well, you are absolutely right, Gare. And look at Jose playing pretty much straight up. Got to go up the middle over the bag. He's just like he's played second base his whole life. And that is the least position he's comfortable in. And I got to believe now, Gary, after playing second base now going into, what, the second year here with the Mets, he's very comfortable out there.
Well, he said to me the other day that any shortstop should be able to learn how to play second. And he says he's a better player now than he was earlier in his career because he's got a better idea what he's doing out there. And he's certainly playing that way.
And he makes a lot of plays on the double play and balls up the middle because of his shortstop arm.
Here's Aaron Rowan with 2 out and a runner at third, and he fouls it off. So Smith trying to avoid giving up his first run in the big leagues.
See here, this line right there, that's where Joe Smith has to be. If his ball is down on those knees, I don't care if it's the slider or the breaking ball, a slider or the fastball, he's always going to be successful because that's where he has his great life.
What Rick Peterson calls the 190 line.
190.
Howard at third and 2 down. And the slider misses 1-1.
Smith blowing on his hand, just trying to get some warmth into those fingers.
Settle for fielding.
Yeah.
Waving at the slider, 1-2.
That's a good one.
Well, you can see, right? That line right there is where he's got to stay. If he does that, that's where he's going to be successful. Look at that ball just take off.
Nicely done, Ron.
And I'm learning from you.
Jeez, that thing broke right into your line.
Yeah, nice long reach on that telestrator. And, you know, he did that with his right arm.
That's right.
It's all in the arm.
That's right.
Oh, what a wonderful game.
You having a good time, Keith? I can tell you're having a really wonderful time tonight.
I'm having a good time, just cold. Look at Ryan Howard. He's
holding those sleeves over his hands. And now it's 3-2 to Rowan.
That's pretty funny seeing Ryan Howard. I always tell my sons, will you please don't keep your hands in your clothes like that.
You want to tell him?
No, not Ryan Howard.
You notice I'm not in my mink tonight, out of deference to Ralph's. I saw Ralph when he was in the booth.
And ball 4 to Rowan. And the Phillies have
Ralph outdid me. Out of deference to Ralph, Mr. Kiner.
Well, he said he'd had that code for 50 years.
He broke it out. So I will not wear in deference to Ralph unless we're on the air together. Then I'll call him and tell him we'll both wear it.
You're going to see him on Friday. So yeah.
So I didn't bring it. Wouldn't wear.
Atlanta.
At home.
Yes.
Yeah, at home. Yeah.
All right. We'll see how the weather is.
Can you get one of those? We'll put it around the.
No. I don't do that.
Here's Carlos Ruiz, 1st and 3rd and 2 out. Ruiz 0 for 2. Robbed by Reyes back in the 3rd. Into a double play. A pretty one. His last time up, and this one handled by Delgado. And Joe Smith continues to string along the zeros. Still hasn't given up a run in the big leagues. And the Mets cruising in Philadelphia. In 2007, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York are teaming up to strike out cancer. For every K the Mets pitching staff registers, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York will make a donation to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund. If you'd like to help, please go to www.hopeandheroes.org. 9th inning in Philadelphia. Joe Smith worked himself in and out of trouble in his 1 inning of work. Got around a leadoff double to Ryan Howard to keep his scoreless string intact. Well, the Phillies have not pitched well. I think that's an understatement. From start to finish.
Well, it's those numbers by the relievers. So you see every single reliever that has come in has given up some runs.
Even Madsen, who's not been charged with a run, gave up the hit to Castro that brought 2 runs in. Delgado 0 for 3 and an intentional walk tonight. And he takes it wide, 2-0. Two and 1 to Delgado. Mets have pounded out 13 hits tonight, including 2 home runs off the bat of Moises Alou. And Delgado pulls one foul. The official paid attendance tonight, 27,058. And we may have about a 1/10 of that in the ballpark right now.
Like you said, though, what a pretty good crowd. Great crowd for the way the weather is.
And the way the Phillies are.
Yeah.
And Delgado throws his bat at it and fouls it off.
It looked like it hit the pitcher. I'm sorry, if that bat hit me, I would not pick it up. Go pick it up yourself.
Madsen was being very gracious.
Change up, fooled him. Oh, it might have got him.
No, I think it stopped short, but
at least he didn't say he thought it was the ball.
That's right.
Three and 2 to Delgado. What has happened to Ryan Madsen? How has he gotten from being a feared reliever 3 years ago to being a mop-up man?
Well, I think that they have fooled around with him. They've moved him back and forth from the rotation, from just pitching there. Look at 96, 95 mile an hour gaps inside. I think what happened last year when they tried to move him to the rotation, he's been a guy that they've always thought had all 4 pitches, could be a great great starter. The problem is having 4 pitches doesn't make you a great starter. Being able to come back every 5th day and pitch. I think his great role was what he was doing 2 years ago. That's coming in to pitch the 8th inning.
And he was phenomenal when he was setting up Billy Wagner. Here's David Wright, 1 for 4 on the night. Singled his first time up. And he takes low. 3rd ball.
It's a tough night for Delgado. He's got the sombrero, 0 for 4 with a walk and 3 strikeouts. And he's the one guy in the lineup that doesn't look right now. Valentin swung the bat very good tonight. And he's off to a slow start, Valentin. It's very good signs of progress for him. But Delgado, the last couple of games, he hasn't found it. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, too good of a hitter.
Get him down in the hot weather in Florida tomorrow. That may solve the problem.
Isn't this game funny, though, Gary? It's just a hitter of the caliber of Delgado. I mean, he's one of the best hitters in the game, and you go in a slump and you're an easy out. It's confounding.
We saw him lost for almost 2 months last year,
and it's just confounding.
But he found himself and hit 38 home runs, drove in 110 runs, right? 114 runs. 2-2 to right.
Oh, that's a trooper.
I love the Harley Davidson jacket. That's outstanding right there. In the air, shallow center, and Rowand 2 away. So 2 out and nobody on. Coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night, we'll go in the Mets clubhouse for a reaction if they can thaw out in time. Chase Wright on the mound for the Yankees tonight, and they win their game. And the Rangers thrash the Thrashers. Oh, 7-0 tonight?
7-0.
Wow. It's an obliteration. Here's Andy Chavez up for the first time, and he pops one up foul that'll come out of play. Andy got a start in the Mets' last game all the way back on Saturday and had a double and a triple in that game. Doesn't seem to matter how much or how little he plays, Andy always seems to find a way to contribute when he does.
He bought into the program. That's what happened. He bought into his role with a winning team.
That's him coming up and in. It's 1-1.
I just think too, I think what used to be a lot of players didn't want to come to New York and play. And I think that with this team, they're happy with the group. They're happy playing in New York. And it shows on their in their performance.
It's like Casey said, why wouldn't you want to come to New York and play?
He also said, can anybody here play this game at about the same time?
These guys can. Some have been rejuvenated, like Jose Valentin sitting in the corner of the dugout there. He's about 10 years younger than he was when he got here.
But he's muy frio right now.
Well, he has that sleeve that the pitchers use to keep their arm warm. He's got it on his arm.
2-2 to Chavez. And it's a little bit low, 3-2.
I guarantee you one thing, their feet are freezing. And in a game like this, when it's over, when you get in that hot shower after a game, and that hot shower warms up your toes, and you
never want to leave the shower.
You just don't want to get out. But on to the next city.
Tell you what, the moment you get off that plane in Miami tonight. Chavez lines one the other way, and Burrow is right there, and that ends the inning. So the Mets are down 1-2-3 in the top of the 9th. Mets on their way to sweeping the one game in Philadelphia. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. By Nissan and your local Nissan dealer. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Ford. Visit your Ford dealer today. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. You see in HD? We go to the last of the 9th in Philadelphia. And Burgos on to pitch. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt.
Well, guys, he's not going to get a chance to pitch tonight, but this game actually meant a lot to Scott Schoenweis. He's never pitched professionally in Philadelphia, and he grew up in Mount Laurel, suburban Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia. Grew up a Phillies fan. Favorite players were Steve Carlton and Tug McGraw. And he's really got some Philadelphia connections. Here's a couple of them. First of all, his next-door neighbor growing up, Vince Papale, the guy who they made the movie Invincible after, the bartender turned Philadelphia Eagle. He lived next to him when he played for the Eagles. And how about this? Some more stories just connected to Philly. He told me his first kiss in 4th grade, Jody Clark. You know who that is? That'll be the daughter of former Flyer Bobby Clark.
Wow.
So the guy's got some connections here in town. He won't get in, but he said he was really looking forward to playing here.
Well, he'll have a couple more series to get in the game here at Citizens Bank Park. Of course, then the wind will be blowing out.
Pretty brave, stealing a kiss from Bobby Clark's daughter.
4th grade, that's quick.
Greg Dobbs, the pinch hitter, lifts one to right center field, and Beltran is over to make the call. 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on, and I think this is a consequence of the Mets having not played in 3 days. That Aaron Heilman and Aaron Seeley are loosening up.
They're just getting their work in. And Burgos getting his work in the game. This is how they've been trying to really kind of, coddle's probably the wrong word, but they're just trying to move him along slowly, Burgos. Occasionally give him a chance in the spotlight when he's not, trying to get him through some successful innings.
Jimmy Rollins 2 out of 4 tonight, a single and a double. The Phillies have 7 hits. Their only run came on a bases loaded walk back in the 3rd, and Burgos fires a fastball by him. Is that 100 on our gun?
That was 100 miles an hour.
Our gun's been a little fast tonight, but 100's 100. Any way you slice it. Burgos trying to nail it down for Tom Glavine, who is seeking win number 293.
You know, it's pretty interesting. For Jimmy Rollins, he needs the ball down. The problem with him is he swings at a lot of pitches up. Early in his career, that's what he would pop up, those pitches. He needs to hit the ball when it's down.
And he lines that one into right field, a base hit, and Rollins has his 3rd hit of the night.
Well, sorry, Mr. Burgos, but that's what we. Oh, geez, what was that? Let's try that again. The ball down is the ball that he will hammer. The ball up is the one that he misses. This ball down from Burgos, and Rollins hit that awfully hard into right field.
And get your ruler if you want.
Oh, jeez.
Ron, you were spot on again.
Nicely done. Here's Shane Victorino with 1 out and 1 on. Burgos misses with a fastball, 1-0.
That line looked like I already had a hot toddy. A little crooked.
Sound like Arthur Richmond. Keithy, let's have a toddy.
Victorino 1 for 3 and a walk tonight. Lifts that one foul off to the left. A souvenir for everybody who's left.
Oh, that's great about Philadelphia, that there's a lot of Met fans that live in southern Jersey, and this is a fun place for them to come and watch a game. It's also a beautiful ballpark.
When the Mets get back here in late June, there will be tons of Met fans on hand. Mets will play a day-night doubleheader here as a result of last night's rainout. It'll be on Friday, June 29th. They also have a day-night doubleheader now scheduled at Shea on the 28th of July, which is the first day-night doubleheader scheduled at Shea in many years. Victorino fouls it off. They're doing some research on that, but I believe it's been since the 60s.
Wow.
Since there's been an actual day-night doubleheader
really?
at Shea. Now, Shea has been host to half of a day-night doubleheader, with the other half at Yankee Stadium. That's happened twice in the last few years.
Well, listen, as a player and having to watch it, Banner Day was like a day-night doubleheader.
Oh,
true.
Man. Remember that?
Sometimes an hour and a half between games. It's a lot of banners. 3-2 now to Victorino.
Well, we knew as players it was important for the fans.
They loved that day.
They loved it, but it was a long time in between a game, let me tell you.
Rollins not being held on in an 8-1 game. And Burgos walks Victorino, and now the Phillies have 2 men on. That is 7 walks for Met pitching tonight. 57 walks in 106 innings this year, which makes it amazing that the Mets lead the league in ERA.
Well, they lead the league in ERA because they have 20 double plays.
That takes away a lot of those walks. That's a turn 3 double plays tonight.
Well, I'm not being a homer here. I would like to see their 21st double play right now.
The Phillies are 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position tonight. They came in hitting just .223 with runners in scoring position, so that has gotten worse. Utley with another crack at it here, and he fouls the first one off. Utley is 0 for 2 with a walk and a hit batsman. But that lack of clutch hitting has been a theme for the Phillies this early season.
And that's negated all the patient hitting. Maybe being that patient and taking all those walks, maybe they're too patient when they get runners in scoring position.
One to Utley. This game a little better than 3.5 hours old now. Remember, we had a delay at the start when Freddie Garcia had to change his glove. Came out with a red glove. They made him go back and get another one.
And it's been all downhill ever since.
That certainly loved the result, but even Willie's shivering a little bit. 1-1 to Utley.
Another game with 13 walks.
In the air to left field, and Andy Chavez has it lined up. And there are 2 away. So the Phillies down to their final out. And Ryan Howard coming to the plate.
Well, for those of you who are still here watching back in New York,
that's everybody.
This will be yes.
Come on, nobody's turned this off.
Sound the trumpets.
Release the hounds.
Tomorrow night it's John Maine against Dontrelle Willis in Miami. The Mets about to go to 8-4 on the year. Howard the final hope for the Phils. And he hits one foul, 0-1. Howard has a double and a bases loaded walk tonight. He is the only RBI for Philadelphia. Rollins at second, Victorino at first with 2 out. Burgos trying to secure the final out. Comes upstairs with the fastball, and it's 0-2.
You know, that's where the Mets have not tried to take advantage of Ryan Howard. Upstairs, when you get ahead of him, you can throw that thing about neck high over the plate. He loves that ball up in the strike zone.
0-2 to Howard. Couldn't climb the ladder that high, and it's 1-2.
Well, I don't think that Burgos is going to monkey around with the splitter. That's what he launched into the right field bullpen in Shea the last homestand.
That was in the home opener. That's rebounded to win after Howard had given the Phillies the lead against Burgos. And he does throw the split, and it's 2-2.
But he made sure he didn't hang it over the middle.
Down to first, but foul. And we'll do it again. Oh, the diehards.
That's a good jacket, huh?
Yes. Well, these are Met fans. They're loving it.
In the air to center field. Beltran back. Has room. And the ball game is over. Career victory number 293 for Tom Glavine as Burgos gets the final out. The Phillies go 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position, and the Mets dominate Philadelphia in every aspect of the game.
Well, just a great job by Tommy Glavine, and like he said, it was just a matter of survival out there today. Did a good job against the middle of that order, Utley and Howard again.
And I just think the Mets just beat the Phillies into submission here, and it showed on the way the Phillies played.
Well, the Mets fielded well, they pitched well, and they had the big hits. Moises Alou with a pair of home runs, and Glavine gets career win number 293. Tomorrow night, the Mets are in Miami to take on the Marlins. We'll have it for you on SNY starting at 7 o'clock. Coming up next, it's Nissan Postgame Live with Matt Yaloff and Lee Mazzilli. Cold night in Philadelphia. They wipe the rain away. The Fanatics cold even with all that fur. But the Mets staying mentally tough and blocking out the cold. Tom Glavine able to fight his way through difficulties, worked around 5 walks in 6 innings, but got every key out that he needed. And the Mets went a hitting. 2 home runs for Moises Alou, his first 2 as a Met. Those were the keystones as the Mets win their 1-game stopover in Philadelphia to go to 8-4 on the year. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, and Kevin Burkhardt, I'm Gary Cohen saying so long from Philadelphia. See you from hot Miami tomorrow night.
Career win number 293 for Tom Glavine did not come easy. The Mets ace is 101 games over 500 in his Hall of Fame career. This is Nissan Postgame Live with Lee Mazzilli. I'm Matt Yaloff. Geico Sports Night comes your way after the show. Tonight we saw Tom Glavine dip into his bag of tricks and pull out everything and anything he needed, in his words, to survive tonight.
Yeah, he did in the fifth inning. I think, he could not get a hold of his changeup. He couldn't get a good grip. And like he said, he went to his fastball. And you know what? That's what veterans do. They make a change in the middle of the game. He did it, got away with it, won the game 293.
Unbelievable. Yep. 7 away from, I guess, getting a lock or a personal invitation to the Hall of Fame, although that's really not in question. Keith Hernandez joins us now from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Keith, let's talk about Tom Glavine, the grit, the guile, and in that fifth inning, how much of what we saw was physical ability and how much of it is 20 years of Major League experience and smarts?
Well, I think it's a combination of the both. I thought what was fascinating about that inning was that prior to that, he was throwing mainly changeups when he was in trouble. But he went at one point in that inning, he threw 5 straight fastballs. So he changed his whole program. And I just thought that's what makes him such a great pitcher. I think he just befuddled the Phillies hitters in that inning. They were looking for a changeup, and he fed them. He poured them with fastballs and got out of that jam. And they got the first 2 runners on base.
Hey, Keith.
Yes, Matt.
Hey, good to have you back, my friend.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, tell me the pulse of this club, the Phillies. I mean, I look at this club right now, and they don't know how many outs there are. It seems like they don't even want to be on the field. They're not backing up plays. It just seems sloppy. It's not the team that you think would be the team going into the season.
Well, it's terrible weather to play. I mean, we all hated to play in this weather. Mm-hmm. But both sides got to play.
Right.
And you're playing the division, the National League, the division champs. This is the team that you said that you've got to beat, and you've got to come with your A game. They had a terrible rundown. Burrell didn't back up in the outfield. And it seemed like when the Mets took a 4-1 lead, and then they had that one inning where they had the men on base and Glavine got out of the jam, it just took all the air out of their sails, and they just laid down and died. And, you just can't do that. And I said it on the air. I think if there's going to be a clubhouse meeting by a manager to chew out a team, I know a lot of managers are afraid to do that today with today's players. This is a time to get them in that dugout. I don't mind you guys losing, but if you're going out there and playing that kind of game and looking like you don't want to be out there against a team that won the division,
right?
Then, you guys, where's your pride? Let's go. You got to shake yourself.
There's no question. You talk about pride, and like you said, if the manager's going to have a meeting, you know what you're going to say is, listen, if we're going to lose my way. We're going to play my way. Fundamentally sound, play the game like you want to win the game, not like you're just going through the motions during the cold weather. I agree with you.
And the Philly fans here, they're very keen, as you know, Maz, and they're tough. There was a lot of boos.
Was there?
Tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith, let's turn it back to the Mets now. And we talked so much last year about what great moves Omar Minaya made by picking up certain players who filled certain roles very well. Moises Alou is doing everything they brought him here to do, and in his style, he's doing it very quietly.
Well, they got the 2 home runs tonight, his first home runs of the season. A guy with 321 home runs in his career. He's hitting over 300 coming into tonight, but he's been hitting in tough luck. So it was a good bust-out game for him. I also felt, too, that Jose Valentin swung the bat extremely well. He's off to a slow start. He had a good night at the plate, which is a good sign. The one guy that's still not off the snide is Delgado. Delgado is struggling. He hasn't found it, but with him, it's just a matter of time.
Do you think that the week that he took off at the end of spring training has taken him a little time to get ready again?
I think so. You just can't turn it off and on, and he missed a week of spring training towards the end, and I don't think he's got it back yet, but he's working towards it, and to me, he's one of the best hitters in the game, one of the best power hitters in the game, really a true cleanup hitter, probably the best cleanup hitter the Mets have ever had. And it's just a matter of time before he comes out. It's good to go down to the warm weather. I'm sure the Mets wish they had a 4-game series down there instead of a 2, but that's the way the scheduling worked out.
Better than Gary Carter as a cleanup hitter?
I think, yes, I do.
Wow.
All right, buddy.
Well, you're going to get getting the emails on that one, Keith. No doubt about that. Hey, Paul Lo Duca, we know Kevin Burkhardt reported during the game that the preliminary x-rays on the index finger were negative, but let's talk about what it means to have a guy like Castro. That's a huge luxury for pitchers and for the lineup.
Well, it's, Lee will tell you, too, it takes 25 to win. I know it's cliche, but that's why you have cliche terms. I mean, you cannot win with 8 regulars and your 12 pitchers now today. You've got to have bench, and your bench has got to come in and do the job. In '86, our bench was terrific. Lee was part of that bench. This is a very solid team up and down as far as the everyday players in the bench, and Castro came into the game unexpectedly, and what did he do? Went 2 for 2 and drove in 2 runs.
All right, Keith, it's Citizens Bank Park. So you're out of Philadelphia. We will see you next time with a tank top on, maybe. Who knows?
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
All right, Keith Hernandez at Citizens Bank there in South Philadelphia. Let's get back to the team concept here. You talked with Keith about the Phillies looking a certain way, body language a certain way, and not doing the fundamentals.
Right.
The Mets, on the other hand, they don't always play perfect baseball. They walked a ton of guys tonight. They're winning more games than they're not. But there's a team feeling when you watch them that you don't get from the Phillies. Where does that begin?
Right, because, you know, right now the Mets are going on the field not hoping to win every game. They're expecting to win every game. They go on the field. And right now, when I'm looking at the Phillies the last week, it's like, well, hopefully we can compete. Let's hope we can win a game. And you can't have that attitude playing in this league.
No, it'll be very interesting to see. I mean, it's still early.
Yeah,
they don't look like it's early. But
it's early.
Like
I mean, you got a lot of seeding. We played only 10, 11 games. So, I mean, you're not want to jump the gun, but, you know, also a good start is going to carry you as well.
Yeah, and the Mets have had a good start for the second straight season under Willie Randolph. Nissan Postgame Live is presented in high definition by IO Digital. Do you see in HD? We take a break, and when we return, Maz and I go inside the game. Highlights from tonight's one-game series, or series, in Philadelphia. Don't go away. The music means we're going inside the game. If you missed tonight's contest, Mets and Phillies, here we go. Freddie Garcia making his Phillies debut after missing time with biceps tendonitis. Willie Randolph comes out. He's got an issue. What's his issue? Well, your guess is as good as mine at this point. Oh, it's the mitt. It's the color of the mitt. It was red. He goes into the dugout, comes back with a black one. A little gamesmanship there. So Freddie Garcia facing Jose Reyes. Red mitt, black mitt. Doesn't really matter. Jose Reyes is on a .357 hitter lifetime at this ballpark heading into the game. 40 of 42 were base runners last year, still against Garcia, and Reyes is in his 7th of the year. But they pick him off, Maz. How'd they do it?
They picked him off on a daylight play. If you watch the runner, will just get behind him. The shortstop, and just, you know, it was a great play by Garcia. That's sometimes it's put on by the catcher with a drop glove sign. And they just put it right there.
That time they got it done. They also get this done here. Carlos Beltran, a 6-3 double play. So Garcia's out of early trouble. Tom Glavine, 2-1 this season. 10 games over 500 lifetime against Philly. Shane Victorino is on second. Glavine walks Utley, but look at this. Fancy defense. 1-6-3. Great play by Tom Glavine. Gets himself out of trouble. Another double play. How about David Wright? A 23-game hit streak coming into this game. It goes back to last year. Well, how about 24? That ties a team record. Mike Piazza and Hubie Brooks. I mean, that's a name you don't hear too often. How about Moises Alou? Crushes this pitch out. They said the wind was blowing hard in, so he gets it up and somehow muscles it out. It's a 2-0 Mets lead. Alou's first home run as a Met. Jose Valentin on third after a double and an error. Tom Glavine to short. Phillies out of trouble. Jimmy Rollins, gets Glavine at first. Top third with Beltran on after a single. Carlos Delgado takes that pitch, and Beltran's in with his second stolen base. Garcia busts Delgado in. Delgado hitless again, still slumping. Bottom third, Phillies with 2 on. Chase Utley follows this one off of Paul LeDuca's right. Look at the right hand, not behind the back, exposed, takes it off the right hand.
The one time you don't put it behind your back, it's the one time you get hit.
All right, so we'll update his condition in a second. Utley, he nips Utley on that pitch, so the bases are loaded. Next up is Ryan Howard. A dangerous situation for Glavine here because they have the lead, but this game could change in a hurry. Ball 1, strike 1. In the dirt, 2-1. Now Howard, look at that change, huh? Then ball 3, and here comes ball 4. Playing it safe.
But he stayed with his game plan. He didn't go away from it, Glavine.
All things considered, not too bad. He walks in 1 run, and then Pat Burrell, the hard grounder to second, and the threat is over. So Glavine escapes with a 1-run lead. Between innings, here's Paul LeDuca. When you see Paul Lo Duca in this kind of pain, what does it tell you?
I'm out.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's a tough bird.
He is a
no
tough
question.
bird. Preliminary x-rays on the right index finger, negative. He's going to be examined again before they head to Florida. So then Glavine gets a base hit. Ramon Castro replaces Lo Duca, gets a base hit. So the Mets are in business again. Carlos Beltran, that is a slice job down the left field line. Pat Burrell, boy, oh boy, you talk about not looking like you want to be there. Off the glove into the corner, and Beltran does the damage. It's now a 3-1 lead. Carlos Delgado intentionally walked to load the bases. David Wright facing Jeff Geary, a little slide piece match. Gets some swing in there. Bottom 5, Phillies with 2 on, nobody out. Glavine bears down. Utley looking, and then Ryan Howard, look at that, swinging on a 3-2 pitch. 2 outs, and Pat Burrell used to be a Met killer, not so much lately. Pops up, Carlos Delgado in the wind, puts it away. Glavine out of trouble again. 6th inning we go. Moises Alou leads off the inning. His 2nd home run is a Met, 2nd in the game.
He's locked in.
He looks great.
He's
hitting lefties, he's hitting right, he's hitting everybody. 4-1 Mets. Green on third. Is the squeeze on? Sean Green thought so. Tom Glavine did not. They get Green in a rundown, although it takes a little bit longer than textbook says it should. Obviously a miss sign. And a miss sign.
You know what? They don't usually squeeze. It's probably 2 years since Willie did. And the third base runner will have a verbal sign with the third base coach. So I think Tommy Glavine just kind of missed the sign right there.
And they finally tag Green. Yeah. Green putting on a show, right? And then
you can see in the dugout right there that they weren't sure of the signs. And sometimes it could be a miscommunication from manager to coach as well. But I think Tommy says that he didn't get the sign.
Well, we may see maybe another 2 years before he tries it again.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, so they come back and they get out of trouble there, turning another double play. Jason Worth pinch hitting, and Alou with the bat, with the glove, the whole deal. A little replay there. And Moises Alou, he may not have the wheels he used to have, but he still plays defense.
Yes, he does.
Top 7, Francisco Rosario pitching for the Phils, and Reyes, big surprise, on base again. Reyes on third after stealing, and then a wild pitch, and Carlos Beltran. They don't turn 2, and that's big because Reyes scores. It's now a 5-1 lead. They're just chipping away and putting runs on the board. Top 8, more Mets offense. Alou on. Matt Smith is pitching, walks Alou. Green also takes a walk. Jose Valentin getting big. How big? Doesn't go out, but Aaron Rowan gives it a good college try there, but it gets past him against the wall. Alou scores. It's now 6-1. Jose Reyes intentionally walked. Castro then faces Ryan Madsen. They roll the righty in. Ryan Madsen singles to center. Green scores. Valentin scores. And the route is, I guess, officially on at this point. It's 8-1. Ramon Castro getting it done with a couple of hits after filling in. Into the 9th. 8-1 lead. Ambiorix Burgos facing Ryan Howard. And Ryan Howard continues to struggle. Not that the game was in reach here, but it doesn't get it done. The deepest part of the park, and the Mets dominate the Phillies, and I mean dominate 8-1.
The key, Matty, also is, it seemed like they had a game plan against Utley and Howard, and it just seemed like they stayed with it for the first 5 games they played, and they didn't vary from it at all, and it showed. They have not done anything that can really hurt the Mets.
8-4 in their first 12. Not too shabby. They now head off to Florida, but before they do, Kevin Burkhardt spoke with Ramon Castro.
Ramon, how hard is it for you to just be ready and all of a sudden Paul gets hurt to come in and deliver like you did and get a couple hits and knock in some runs there?
I always prepare physically and mental, so I was ready in the bench, so I hope he's okay, so I'm going to continue to be ready anytime they need me, try to do my job.
How about Tom Glavine in the 5th inning there? It looks like he went to the fastball to land to strike out Ryan Howard. Can you tell me about that sequence?
Yeah, because all the pitchers don't have no grip in the ball, so the only grip they have is the fastball. But I was trying to move a lot with the fastball with Tommy, and we were able to throw a good game.
How excited are you to get down to Florida and play in some warm weather?
Yeah, I can't wait to go home. My family is waiting for me there, so I'm going there tonight.
All right, Ramon, thanks. We'll get dressed. Appreciate it.
All right, so Kevin with Ramon Castro, and you take a look at the 2 hits he had tonight. He talked about being prepared physically and mentally. What does that require on a night that was clearly cold, in a game that was getting a little bit out of reach? You don't know when you're going to get called on.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But you know what? You have to come to the ballpark ready to play, and especially being a catcher, you never know when you're going to get in the game for something like today, foul ball, and you're in the game. But, you know, I spoke to Willie during spring training about Castro, and he said to me, you know what, this kid has the makings to be a #1 catcher. So, you know what, you really have 2 #1 catchers on this team. So if Leduca goes down for any extended period of time, I mean, you got a pretty good backup in Castro. So Willie feels pretty good about that. Obviously, you know, Leduca, hopefully it's just day to day.
All right, so Castro chips in with 2 hits after filling in for Paul Leduca. The rest of the box score shakes out like this. Moises Alou now hitting, I got him at 341, guys. 341, 3 RBIs tonight. Top of the order. No surprise when the Mets win and win big. Jose Reyes is a part of it, 2 for 4. Keith Hernandez mentioned it. Delgado's the only guy here really not doing it. 0 for 4 tonight, 224. You've seen him for years in the American League. What do you make of what we see?
Well, you know what? I think the week that he missed in spring training, I think, hurt him. I think, you know, going back to his past history, we know what he can do in Toronto. So you're not worried about it. He will be back. But I think, you know what, in the cold weather, missing a week, it has an effect on him.
And you're not 25 years old anymore.
Right, exactly.
And I guess as guys get up there toward the later part of their career, it can certainly...
Yeah, no question.
But if he starts kicking it in...
Well, the thing is, your team is winning right now without Delgado really in the mix of things. And when he gets hot, he can carry a ball club for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, we saw it last year, even though he did slump from time to time. Nissan Postgame Live takes a break. We still have to hear from Willie Randolph, and we will do that later on in the show. More reaction from the Mets clubhouse as they get set to head to sunny Florida to face the Marlins. We're coming right back after a break. Plenty of reaction upcoming from the Mets clubhouse in just a bit on Nissan Postgame Live, but we check in with our friend Steve Overmeyer now with a preview of what's happening tonight on Geico Sports Night. Steve O.
Yeah, Matty, it is a busy night in sports. We'll have much more reaction from Philadelphia. Plus, we hear from former Yankee Bernie Williams.
I'm not really ruling baseball out yet, but let's see what happens, during the course of the year.
More on Bernie and the Yankees, plus a garden party as the Rangers return home. If you thought they were impressive in the ATL, where do you see tonight's highlights? All that and much more coming up on Geico Sports Night. Now back to Nissan Postgame Live with Matt and Mass.
All right, thanks a lot, Steve. We look forward to that. How about Tom Glavine tonight, Maz? He goes to 3-1, 6 innings, 6 hits, did walk 5, but you know what? Made the pitches when he needed to make them. His ERA, 2.7, and I guess the big number here we're looking at is 300, right? He is 7 away from that magical number. Tom Glavine spoke with Kevin Burkhardt during tonight's win in Philadelphia.
Tom, how much of a factor is the cold, especially with you? You don't walk guys, but you've obviously the last 3 starts have been in very cold weather.
It's hard. I mean, that's all I can tell you is it's kind of a battle of survival. I mean, I don't have much feel on my pitches. When I do, it comes and goes. So, my mindset is just try and survive and try and treat every pitch like it's 0-2 and I'm trying to make a nasty pitch. And if I don't, then try again on the next one. So, it's really hard in terms of trying to work the count or trying to work sides of the plate and stuff like that. It's just you're kind of at the mercy of how the ball comes out of your hand, and it comes out real inconsistent.
Does it affect the changeup more than the fastball?
It's both, really. I mean, like tonight with that wind, it was hard for me to get that good sink down and away to the righties on my changeup because the wind was kind of blowing it across the plate. And, my sinker, the 2-seamer, that one gets hard to hold on to in general. So I try and go a few more 4-seamers and get a little bit better feel on that one. But, that's not as much of a ground ball pitch for me. So it's just, like I said, it's the kind of thing that you throw out what the count is and what your ball strike ratio is and all that stuff and really just go into the survival mode and try and make a pitch.
How about your sequences? In the 3rd inning, when you're talking about the big bats of Utley and Howard, 3rd inning looks like you worked a lot of changeups in, but then you changed in the 5th inning and you struck them both out. It looked like you really heavy fastball diet there.
Well, that's kind of part of the game within the game, I mean, the first 2 times up, especially Chase, I pitched him in a lot. And with Ryan, it's kind of in and out and just trying to change speeds all the time. And, I walked him, I got him out on a changeup the first time, and the second time I walked him on a changeup. So, 3rd time through, you try and mix it up a little bit and kind of go against the pattern and certainly work against those 2 guys, which were big outs at that point in the game.
How much looking forward to you or pitching in a warm weather game, maybe your next start?
Well, hopefully Sunday at Shea it's going to be a little bit warmer. So I don't know. At this point in time, I'll take 40 degrees at this point in time and see how that feels.
Tom, thanks, and good job tonight.
All right, thank you.
All right, Tom Glavine, Kevin Burkhardt during tonight's game. Tom Glavine goes 6, and then the pen fills in. And Maz, we're looking at a great story here again. New faces abound in that bullpen, but now 15-plus scoreless innings consecutively by this bullpen. What does that mean to you?
Great job. You look at Feliciano, Smith, and Burgos. They pitched 3 innings today. They gave up 2 hits. I mean, it just seems like, you know, you're confident knowing that getting late innings in a game that you're going to be okay. And we want your starting pitching to go 6 innings, and you know that your bullpens are going to take over. And what you really want is probably your 7th and 8th inning taken care of, because you know you have Wagner closing the game.
And let's not forget now, I guess it's toward the end of May, if I'm not mistaken, Guillermo Mota will surface at the earliest, the end of May. We don't really know exactly when, but that's when the suspension will be over. So that's another live arm, another big righty.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to make a good team and a good manager, you always need a good bullpen. And I'll tell you what, Willie's got a good bullpen now, right now, and he's got to ride it out, because somewhere during the course of the season, they're going to struggle. Yeah. I mean, every bullpen does and every team does, and now you just have to minimize that. But right now, you got to ride that wave.
All right, we're riding the wave of Nissan Postgame Live. Maz and I come back. We're going to we'll bring you Willie Randolph's comments and reaction from the Mets as they prove to 8-4. They're heading to Florida for a 2-game set against the Marlins. 8-1 the final of tonight's game. The Mets improved to 8-4 on the season. They now head to Florida, where Willie Randolph will send John Maine to the mound. Maine is going to face Dontrell Willis tomorrow night. Before they leave Philly and head for the Sunshine State, Willie Randolph talked to the media at Citizens Bank Park. First up, a question about the health of Paul Lo Duca.
Willie, what do you know about Paul?
I saw him a second ago. He's fine. They took a precautionary x-ray like we always do, and probably just a little bruise. It's just, you know, I'm sure the cold weather made it feel worse, but he should be okay.
Before the year, Jimmy Rollins said that the Phillies were the team to beat. I'm sure you heard that over and over, but is that giving you guys any extra focus?
Not whatsoever. No, whatsoever.
Willie, how impressed were you with, you know, a couple different sequences in the third? You know, looked like Tom went after Utley and Howard with the change, and then he came back in the fifth, and looked like he got them both with the fastball. Can you just talk about that sequence there?
Yeah, well, you know, they have a decent approach against Tommy. You know, they try to be patient against him. I think sometimes it helps for Tommy just to go after him, you know, because they try to be patient early, figure he's going to, you know, play the chase game. But I thought when he was aggressive early in the count, I thought he got strikes, and that was able to set up his other pitches. So, you know, they grinded it out against him. You know, again, it's always, you know, a problem with the weather and get feel for the ball. Tommy usually is not that erratic in the zone, but you know, he battled through and kept fighting, and you know, got a big double play. We had 3 double plays tonight, which were huge, and we swung the bats a little bit.
Moises 2 home runs into the wind there.
No, he's strong, man. I mean, Moises, he just lays in the weeds on you, and with no gloves in this kind of weather, it's pretty impressive, man. You know, and yeah, he crushed 2 of those balls. He's you know, off to a nice start.
Has he played a better left field than you maybe thought coming in?
He's played well. He's played real well out there. I mean, I've always known he's been a decent left fielder, but, you know, so far this spring he's done the job and made some nice plays for us, some real nice plays.
Tommy also had the 3 double plays behind him, too.
Always great to get those, man. I mean, he's got him at the right time, too. Jose turned a nice one, and, you know, you need that. You got to have those situations where you get out of those innings real quick and don't have those big boys come up and pop on you a little bit. But, you know, Tommy has a way. He knows how to pitch, so he'll add and subtract and give in when he has to. And I think tonight, when he was aggressive in the zone, I thought he got good results, because you can see where his pitch count was up early, but that was a tribute to their being patient. And but you know, he didn't bend. He did a nice job, great job.
You guys travel to Florida tomorrow. What do you expect out of the morning?
Well, you know, we'll see. I mean, we played him a little bit in spring training, but totally different ball game. So they got a nice young club down there. We're looking forward to playing them. Hopefully, be some nice weather. We're looking forward to that for a change. But they got a nice young club, and it's always a challenge playing them down there.
Really, did Tom miss a sign? Was it supposed to be a suicide squeeze?
It was just a little miscommunication. That's all. I mean, he knew it was just. He saw something a little different, that's all. But Tommy's real good at that kind of stuff. He's very conscientious of it. Just a little glitch. That's all. No big deal, Mark. No big deal. Just you know, we'll get it right next time.
All right, Willie Randolph addressing the media at Citizens Bank Park. Dontrelle Willis awaits, and that's never good news for the opposition. John Maine, opening day at Shea was his last outing, so you're talking about 9 days since he pitched. That's going to be interesting. Although it will be warm, that could be a help.
Yeah, it could be. But, you know, 9 days is 9 days off, and he needs to get his throwing in. But, you know, for me, if you look at Tommy Glavine pitch tonight, I think that's what John Maine really has to look at, the way Tommy Glavine approached the hitters. He didn't have his best stuff tonight. He made changes during the game. You know what? That's what John Maine fell in the last game. He didn't make enough changes, and I think that's what you learn from veterans like that.
What's the approach against Dontrelle? Back in '03, you were with the Yankees, and the Marlins rolled in, and he was a kid.
Yeah.
How do you face this guy?
I'll tell you what. With Dontrelle, you got to get him early, because once he gets into a groove, he'll glide into 7, 8 innings very easily. So, you know, you got to get him early, and you got to make him frustrated.
As far as a statement, everyone's focused on the Phillies and the Mets, and you're the team to beat. We're the team to beat. The Braves have clearly improved since last year. What about this Marlins team? Where do they fall? Is it too early to tell?
I think it's too early to tell. I think they have some good players. They had a good year last year. Now, after you come out and have a good year, now people are expecting you to play that way for the next year all the time. And you know what? We just don't know if the Marlins can do that yet. They got some good young pitching, but, you know, we'll see what happens when they play a good team.
Moises Alou won a world championship playing for the Marlins way back in 1997. It seems like a long time. Oh, it was actually. It was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The Nissan Play of the Game, courtesy Moises Alou, getting it done in left field. And Willie Randolph pointed out, no batting gloves in this weather. Moises Alou in the flesh.
When did the scene affect you there on the 2 home runs?
No, you know, I hit the first ball pretty good. I still kind of look at Burrell to see if I hit it hard enough to go. I remember hitting one ball pretty hard in St. Louis that I thought was gone, and the wind held it. But today, you know, I guess I hit it better today.
Moises, how happy are you with your whole performance for the team so far this season?
Well, I'm happy, you know, because we're playing well, and I feel like I'm playing well too, and playing good defense and getting swinging the bat a lot better now. I feel really comfortable at the play, and that's the best feeling when you play, you know. I mean, no matter what the results are, but when you're feeling great at the play, that's a good feeling, and I'm feeling that way right now.
Is the defense contagious? You know, the sixth is a big double play, and then you make the great catch to end the inning. Is it just, you see it happening around you, just kind of contagious?
Well, yeah, you know, that's part of my game that I really take pride on. You know, I was a little disappointed that Jimmy Rollins hit the ball over my head. You know, sometimes you forget how small this ballpark is, and then you play shallow, like you play in a regular ballpark, but it's not. And but I usually anticipate what's going to happen, and I had a great jump on that ball that their pinch hitter hit today.
Was in spring training you weren't hitting well? You always said you played well in April and you were a fast starter. So that carried you through? You knew that you were going to have a good start?
Yeah, I wasn't worried about it, but like I said, you know, I wanted to look better than what I looked in spring training. But I always have a lot of confidence, and I know I always had good Aprils and a pretty good start, and you know, why not here? And I feel like I'm having a decent April right now, but spring training is spring training. You know, I never had great spring training, and but maybe 1 or 2 in my whole career. But it just seriously, I mean, it's so much fun. You know, it's more fun that I really thought it was gonna be coming here to New York and being on a great team, and you know, everything that we're doing, you know, it's kind of contagious. You know, I mean, you really want to win the game. These guys, they're really after it, and it's a great feeling, you know, to be part of it and to be able to contribute.
He took a chance, Maz, because he could have gone to other places for longer deals. He came to New York, and so far, it's mid-April, it's paying off.
It is paying off. You know, and when you're 40 years old and you're in spring training and you're not playing well, you know, people start to wonder, you know, can you still play? But, you know, you look at him tonight, what he can do. He's just a major asset to any team, what he brings to on and off the field as well.
All right, Mets win. They beat the Phillies 8-1 in Philadelphia. It's on to Florida. That's going to do it for Nissan Postgame Live. Geico Sports Night is coming up next. Hockey highlights. I'm Matt Yaloff.
I'm Lee Mazzilli. Good night, New York.